Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello and welcome to this. It is the EggChasers Rugby Podcast, the podcast about rugby. It doesn't take itself or the game too seriously. I'm JB in the Rugby Dungeon with Tim. Hello, Tim.
Say hello to Phil first.
Hang on. No, stop. Hello, Tim. Say hello to Phil. Tim. What is the game?
G'day, Bruce.
That's it. G'day, Bruce. G'day, Phil.
G'day, Jay.
Say g'day to Tim, Phil.
G'day, Tim.
There you go. What a great entry.
Hello, Phil. Hello, JB. Hello, Wales. Wales, can you hear me? Kelly Jones, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Tom Jones, Aled Jones, Alan Wynne-Jones. Alan Wynne-Jones, can you hear me? Your boys took a hell of a beating. Sir Anthony Hopkins, Gareth Edwards, H from Steps, Ryan Giggs, Sam Warburton, Glyn from Big Brother 7. Glyn from Big Brother 7, can you hear me? Your boys took a hell of a beating. Aled Brew, Ivor the Engine, Scott Quinnell, Gareth Bale, Shirley Bassey, Hadley Parks.
Why is Aled Brew the funniest?
Hadley Parks.
Stacey from Gavin and Stacey, Neville Southall,
Brett Simpkinson,
Shane Howarth, Reese Ifans, Hugh Edwards, Fireman Sam, Charlotte Church, Gavin Henson, Jonathan Beardmore, JB from EggChasers. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, JB? Your boys took a hell of a beating.
So I guess the first question I'd ask is, how did you feel about the win, Tim? Very good.
What an entrance.
What an entrance. So, from the sublime to the ridiculous. Or ridiculous to the sublime, I might add.
And back to the ridiculous.
And then back to the ridiculous. So, are you feeling equally as buoyant, Phil?
I enjoyed the result.
Did you?
I very much enjoyed the result. It's always good to beat Wales.
If you want a metaphor for Welsh rugby right there.
There it is.
JB's microphone, is it?
God.
The personification of the WRU right there. You had one job.
Do you know, like, the personification of the WRU, I mean, it's not in a good place, is it? It's not in a good place at all. Do you know what the thing about the WRU which really gets me? Do you know when they show, Wales Online will show, the people that are going to put Welsh rugby back together, and they're sitting in, like, the worst kind of boardroom, and the people are like, someone you've never heard of who worked at the NHS for 10 years or something, like ex-NHS director and also governance lead at the WRU. Like, oh, God, here we go.
Can I be honest? There was an element where it was like that, oh, stop it, he's already dead kind of Simpsons meme about that game with England.
Wasn't good.
And I actually felt sorry, and I do feel sorry. I think it's like there's all those players were doing their best, the fans. It's just been run into the ground by people that haven't been held accountable yet and should be. And then I thought, and that little meme that is now, it was going to become a meme, that shot of Adam Jones. Which was just priceless. I did actually feel sorry, genuinely do, and I hope Welsh rugby is back. And then for a second, and it'd be interesting to know what you thought, Phil, I thought, hold on a minute, 2013, 2005, like, so there's been many a painful day in Cardiff, and Did a Welshman on those days give any sort of sympathy or empathy with an Englishman?
No.
Not a sausage. So I thought, what the heck, I'll go all in on the start of the podcast.
I mean, I watched it, and I was kind of enjoying the way England were playing, actually. I thought they played well. I thought it's catastrophic because I think this is an existential threat to Wales and Welsh rugby. And I think there are other themes going on in the rugby world now which should concern everybody, because England are only as strong and France are only as strong as their opposition. If you've got two basically dead teams in Italy, and no, actually Italy are going in the right direction, but the decline of Wales is so bad for rugby. And I feel that we've been here before, like in the early 2000s, in the 90s, it wasn't great, but nothing like this. I mean, this really is. I think it's existential. I really do.
I think I'm probably not as concerned as you for Wales, partly because, as Tim said out before, I'm an England fan. That level of sympathy or empathy never played the other way in reversals of this result. But I think if we went back 2 weeks, 3 weeks to the Ireland game, first game after Gatland had gone, and you saw some real green shoots. In this game, I think they were beaten by a much better team, but they were kind of done. It was like the end of a long tournament. They've had a change of coaching staff. You can see why when England had their tails up, why some of those Wales boys were already thinking of being on the beach or going for the beers afterwards.
Doing anything. Well,
yeah, but not facing Cunningham South and Curry and Willis and Freeman. Any of them.
Lissan Al Gaib, Henry Pollock.
Oh,
yeah. So,
Pollock.
I mean, before I go on about Wales too much, and we will revisit this, let me just shout out to England, because I thought it was a great performance. And I think the thing which really stood out for me was the back row. I think finally England have found out what they are. 2 Currys and an Earl. I mean,
and a Cunningham South, and a Willis.
And a Pollock.
And, Earl played in the centre, and Pollock.
I'm happy to lavish praise on all of those people. I am wary of drawing any sort of conclusion in the way that you just have. Oh, England have finally found... They were playing against Wales, for all the reasons you just said. Like, that was a training run for England.
But you know why I think this, okay? Because we're always looking for balance. We're always looking for, this is the carrier, this is this. Actually, what they did so well was just bring enormous amounts of energy. Energy you just can't deal with. So maybe you don't need a carrier, maybe you don't need all these things, because at the breakdown, these boys didn't stop.
Well, put a pin in that.
Like a compound
put a pin in that,
factor.
and I think that's a really interesting talking point. Let me just say, because I haven't done any housekeeping whatsoever. Contact EggChasers@gmail.com. If it is right near the end of a tax year, if you suddenly
is.
Oh God, I need some financial advice.
Do it tomorrow.
My business has some profit, which I need to know whether should I invest it into a SIP or.
Well, what should you do with it?
What should you do with it? Well, if only there was a financial advisor that might be able to help. Beardmore, and Beardmore, and Beardmore, and Beardmore.
Beardmore and Co.
Beardmore and Co. Independent financial advisors. You can find more. You can find me on YouTube, EggChasers Rugby there, Phil lurking online, and all of us you will find at patreon.com/EggChasers, where we have had loads of extra content lately, and some of it which we have had lots of people saying this stuff needs to be heard. Like out there in the wild, and maybe some of it will at some point.
Well, I think we should. I think the vote. So we did the LTIP.
The LTIP, Bill Sweeney.
The vote
stuff.
is next week. So voting is now open. I think it's next week or the week after, 27th. I want to say is the actual vote. So
well, I'll do a quick intro to it, and we'll get it on the main feed this week.
It should go.
All right,
on the
cool.
main feed.
Right, and we'll do it on the following conditions, right? Following conditions is if we do it, and we can't enforce these conditions, listen to it. And if you think you know somebody with some influence in the voting, send it to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just spread it as far and wide as you possibly can. It's a great bit of work by Phil, and it really puts some colour into exactly why changes are needed at the RFU.
And if you like that, there is a whole back catalogue, some of which is absolutely timeless, of other Patreon podcasts that is worth a few pounds of anyone's money.
Yeah.
Particularly, the recent highlights include the LTIP, the Ugo Monye court case result, and the Canadian Women's 7.
One of the all-time... If you think you don't like talking about Canadian Women's 7s, that's because you haven't listened to our Patreon.
It's one of our friends, friend of the pod, Lawrence, messaged me to say he's now signed up to Patreon to listen to the LTIP. Loved the Monye podcast and could not believe the Canadian Women's 7 podcast.
It's just...
It is...
the gift that keeps giving.
Yeah, it really is. So,
Earl Meyer and all the girls.
Give it a listen, spread it wide, and if you appreciate the content, go to patreon.com/EggChasers and join us for more content there. So, to your point, JB, and before we broaden out into any specific game, this is what I think that you've just touched upon, what I think is really interesting with rugby. It's like a bit of an inflection point where and do you know what I'm going to say?
Go for it.
I think Eddie Jones was ahead of the curve, and this is what Eddie Jones... People laughed at Eddie Jones when he talked about hybrid players. Mm-hmm. Flankers who could be centres, wingers who could be flankers. People took the...
Tens who can be fullbacks.
People absolutely rinsed Eddie Jones, taking the piss out of his Jack Noel, Ben Earl. I think Eddie Jones was already... And you look, I'm not going to defend Eddie Jones for all of what he's done. I'm just going to say I think he is a brilliant rugby mind, and he identified what now has become the zeitgeist thing in rugby, which we're going to see more and more over the coming years, which is the hybrid player and the fluidity of positions. And because if you think outside of a scrum, a line out, when you're in open play, the number on your back is largely irrelevant, and it's that energy and that skill set which can have a massive impact on a game.
I think that we'll see a bit more of it, but I don't think it's going to be the norm. So I think that, if anything, maybe you will between the back row and the centres, maybe something like that.
People would have said the same the first time. Who did the 6-2 split first? Was that France because of Sekou Makalu?
Well, this is interesting, right? So the 6-2 split, whoever did that first, maybe it was France actually, but whoever did that first, I think...
I'm sure people said then, oh, no, this was a phase, this isn't going to be a thing.
6-2, 7-1 kind of does rely on you having some sort of hybrid player, doesn't it? So that I think that's the push factor rather than hybrid players in of themselves being more valuable.
Yeah, I think it's...
Excuse me.
It's just giving you more options, isn't it? The flexibility. And it's something we've talked about for years in... particularly if you look at the back line, England have been the worst culprits, in my mind, over the last 20, 30 years since professionalism, to pigeonhole players. Oh, he's a 12, not a 30. He can only be... Who's putting Manu at 12 because he's a 13? Lawrence is a 13, he can't play 12. Slade is a 13, can't play 12.
You're a big lad getting the forwards.
Yeah.
Is another one.
Another example. Or like worrying about, he's a winger, he's not a fullback, or he can't play 13, he's a winger.
When you get into phase play, you're a rugby player.
Whereas other countries, particularly in the backs, I think this is a step before the forward-back split. Like, look at how many good Australian or New Zealand players have played right across the back line. Like someone like Tana Umaga or Sterling Mortlock, who made their...
Start on the wing?
Yeah, their starts on the wing.
Johnny Wilkinson started on the wing.
Johnny Wilkinson did.
Start at 13?
I want to say what wing, but I could be wrong on that.
Mike Catt started on the wing.
I think he came on the wing for his debut as a 18-year-old.
So isn't it weird to think you'd put... So, actually, it's weird to think that you'd start a fly half on the wing or even bring him on the wing.
On the wing, it is a bit weird.
It's another reason...
Smith going on the wing.
For the reasons you just identified, I would maintain one of the best England players of all time is Austin Healey.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
He's one of very few who had that versatility. Of that era, Lucy played all of back three. Did he ever line up in the centres?
Jason Robinson played full-back wing centre.
So it's Jason... I looked this up recently. He played 2 games wearing the 12 shirt in the 2004 Six Nations.
That's wild.
I mean, that is wild. That is wild.
Never have happened. Josh Lucy would have played 12 because they always thought he was going to be a world-class number 12. So that would have happened. I was going to go the other way with this. I think it comes in waves or cycles. So I think if you start to get more generic now, those generic players will start to get punished by the more specialist players later. The great example of this is going to be the wingers now. You used to be able to put anyone on the wing, just anyone. Just throw on a big lad on the wing, throw on a fly half. If you had inexperienced wingers now against, for instance, South Africa with their kick chase, you were dead. You were dead before you've even started. So it depends what you're doing and why you're doing it.
I agree. There are moments in games when you can be exposed, but like Jegu and now Ben Earl, albeit England were playing against Wales, as I've said, But I think it's going to be fascinating to watch. And all the people, well, not all the people that are complaining about a 7-1 split, just jog on.
Yeah, exactly. Well done.
Yeah. Well, if you're so the people I could understand complaining about a 7-1 split would be if your team goes for a 7-1 split and they get a couple of injuries and they lose as a consequence of having Miafu out on the wing.
Yeah.
I know Robbie Henshaw couldn't go around him last week, but if something like that happens, you've got right to complain. If you're playing against a team who goes 7-1 split, you can't complain. Like they're taking the risk.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
And if World Rugby leave it alone, coaches will work out ways to find the weakness in that.
Yeah. And leave rugby alone. Coaches are the best regulators of rugby. They always come up with something, and then they'll always have the counter.
That's what I'm really interested to see, because Gregor Townsend does not have enough big, good forwards to put 7 forwards on the bench, and he wouldn't want to flex that particular strength. Scotland would play a different way. So I'm fascinated to see what does Gregor Townsend do the next time he comes up against a 7-1.
Probably some more contracts for South Africans.
I would say so. I'd ask Dion if he's got any friends. Did you grow up with anyone who looked roughly like you?
Pierre Schoeman, you must know some big
surely. So maybe he's worked for Sale Sharks, work for Scotland, it'll be fine.
Take the long game, just like get Duan van der Merwe like a stud to impregnate
a breeding program.
Him and Pierre Schoeman while they're still around, because the second they retire, they're back to South Africa. It's the same, Bundiaki's actually an Irish citizen and stuff, but I'm sure as soon as he retires, he does. I'm not questioning his love for Ireland. He'll be back. He'll be going home.
Why would you not want to go?
There's a strong chance. Like, look at CJ Stander.
Yeah.
It's a great time getting some caps in Ireland, then home to South Africa.
South Africa's a beautiful country. Go there.
If you're in the right parts of South Africa.
Dysfunctional, yet beautiful. Yeah. Kind of like Ireland.
It's a country of extremes.
Yes. Kind of like Ireland.
Yes.
But no, I'm just fascinated to see how it goes, and I love it as an extra talking point. I love it.
Exactly.
It is good.
Exactly.
I do think that the hybrid players might be more in the pack. So flankers going to hooker. That's obviously the South Africa one, which I loved. I think that where you're not going to get much movement is big second rows and big props. I think that's done now.
Second rows is interesting because you're seeing a lot of jumping sixes. So a jumping six, like Itoje or Chesham or Martin can all do it, like Ryan Baird or Ty Byrne. I mean, Chesham goes off after 20 minutes this week. Chandler Cunningham South comes on, and I know we've said it before, it was against a Wales team that were on the beach, but England didn't lose anything. No.
Actually, you've seen it, Cameron Wacky for France. The second row's just changing the conversation completely. Do you know that's my question on the EggChasers group about second rows?
The 10 best in the world?
Yeah, what was it? So JB just canvassed opinion. Who are the 10 best locks in the world currently?
And the reason I did that is because I was watching France, I was like, I wonder how many people would pick the French second rows as currently constituted as one of the best in the world.
I think both of them were in my top 5, weren't they?
Yeah, you put in, who do you put?
Miafu and Flamont.
Flamont. Like, you definitely, I knew Miafu would get in because he's massive. Like, Flamont is...
He's unreal.
He's underrated though, isn't he?
Good.
People aren't going Etzebeth Flamont. And I wonder if that's because he started, he's at Wasps, he played a bit of fly half at wherever it was in Loughborough.
And then he's won everything with Toulouse now.
Everything with Toulouse.
My top 10 list was Etzebeth, Itoje, Sneijman, Miafu, Byrne, Flamont, Barrett, Mostert, Chesham, Martin.
Yeah, but the other, who else?
Skelton?
Not in that top 10.
And who else answered that? Because they didn't mention Flamont. I was wondering...
They didn't.
If people answer that, I wonder who would have Flamont in their team.
He's awesome. And look how much better France are with him in.
Because he does the line-up work too.
Yeah, he's really very good.
Their set piece is rock solid, and that enables them to maul. And their maul the last 2 weeks has been scary.
Dynamite. Absolute dynamite. Yeah. So, Wales are a disaster zone. I think that kind of...
That's a great summary. We can move on from that.
But I think where I'm going with this is we shouldn't be too happy about how the Six Nations ended. And if you expand that over to the broader world of rugby, you can see why. So maybe France have turned the corner now where they're just going to be ascendant forever. Because I don't see how anyone is going to catch them. The Irish look like they're starting to decline a bit.
Who did you say? Did you say Welsh or did you say French?
I did say French, Tim.
You did say, I was going to say, sorry, I thought I'd misheard you.
Yeah,
sorry.
It'd be one hell of a call to say
the Welsh are ascending.
I mean, they can't go much lower, can they? So I guess they are starting to ascend slightly.
I don't know how low they can go.
Yeah, and it wasn't even a bad Welsh team. Anyway, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
The French are ascendant. I don't know what group of players, what country has a group of players to go after them, really.
In the Northern Hemisphere, England are the team.
Yeah.
Ireland it does feel like, so could it be losing Farrell, who's obviously is an influential individual, or could it be the fact that this is an aging team? And they're not all aging. You've got guys like Sheehan and Doris and Mac Hansen and Keenan and the two fly halves who are all kind of in their prime. But some of the other players are getting a bit older.
They are. I mean, they lost 3 this weekend.
3.
Yeah, I like 380 caps worth of player.
Yeah,
boys.
But
The only one they're going to miss out of that, like immediately, is Conor Murray. I still think he's.
I think Omani's useful.
He's useful, but I don't think they'll miss him. I think they can replace Omani.
Yeah.
I think right now they actually, particularly with Craig Casey injured, Conor Murray could actually still do a job for them.
So he can, but I'd like to see my Ulsterman, Nathan Doak, get some more play a bit more, play a bit better.
He's the young lad at Cormac at someone at Leinster. Looks like he could be handy as well, but I can't remember his name.
So Conor Murray's so handy because he's done it for so many years.
Great closing games out, really good.
Yeah, I'm less worried about that. It's not even those 3 players because they're all. I know Omani's been starting, but more on the periphery.
Yeah, when you think about the age of players at the next World Cup, you'll have a lot of guys in there. Well into their 30s. Bundy Aki will be 35.
Approaching their mid-30s. 33, 34, 35.
30, yeah. Which is fine. South Africa won the World Cup with a squad very much like that.
Yes.
Now, the reason that I think people are pointing on England at the moment is because they've had a good Six Nations.
Well, they finished against Italy and Wales. I think had the Italy and Wales games been first, and it had been the other way round, and this is where I'm wary of drawing massive conclusions, because there were people only a couple of weeks ago saying Borthwick had to go.
Who said that?
Loads and loads of England fans.
Andy Good.
Tons of them.
Said that?
Yes.
No, Goody.
Yes.
I'm very interested to see what some of these grassroots podcasters have to say now.
That's remarkable.
How they're going to make... Here's my prediction. You'll hear a load of grassroots podcasters who were saying things like Borthwick out, trying to save a bit of face by saying, well, in fact, I've heard this narrative a little bit, which I think's utter BS. That the players intervened and told Steve Borthwick they wanted to change the way that they played.
Is that right?
And now the reins have been let off, and now the players are able to express themselves. It's complete rubbish.
Yeah, that is nonsense. So the reason I'm not at that point on England, I like this team as constituted. The reason I'm not going wild for them is the Premiership is not going to be able to provide the level of player that the top 14 is, and I think that's the worry now.
I do get that, and that's
same with Ireland, same with the Leinster system.
Just a great example of that. Even looking at other countries, look how much better Blair Kinghorn and Ben White are for Scotland.
God, that's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just such a good point. Blair Kinghorn looks like a world beater now, and that's because he's exposed to Toulouse.
He spent 18 months with Toulouse, and he's that much better.
He's phenomenal. He's the 15 of the
Ben
tournament.
White's much better.
But do you know? I always say...
Ben White's played brilliant.
When I moved over to Manchester and played rugby with Broughton Park for the first time when they had this mega team, you learn so much by just seeing people who are so much better than you. I don't know if you've ever had this experience.
Yeah.
But you put in with a group of guys who are just so much better and you instantly become better.
Yeah. I'll give you... So, seeing it in rugby, when you're playing with good people, playing and training with good people, you get better. My most stark example of this from my own personal life is actually not rugby, it's playing table tennis. Like, I playing table tennis with someone that you can beat comfortably, you get no better. As soon as you play against someone who is considerably better than you, you get better really fast.
Yep.
Really fast.
I think it's so... I mean, it's so narrow-minded of the RFU and everyone else, actually, who thinks, if you go to France, you can't play for us. Grow up.
No, but I think I've said this so many times. I don't want. You could only have a 1, 2, 3 in any French team. I don't want that. I want an Exeter where the Exeter were 5 years ago. I want Saracens where they were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want Wasps and Leicester of the 2000s. I don't want 1 or 2 people getting experience. I want 26, 28, 30 people in multiple teams. So I'm buoyed by the salary cap going back up.
Yeah.
I'm highly, highly concerned about the overall precarious nature of the finances of all of the Premiership.
I think the underpinning that precarious nature of the Premiership, underpinning the decision to not allow players to play abroad and play for England if a coach wishes to pick them, is, without wanting to sound like one of those kind of mindset Instagrammers, it's just it's a scarcity mindset, not an abundance mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's starting from we need to protect what we've got, not let's look at trying to grow something.
Toulouse could not exist in the Premiership, and this is the point that you made, Phil. It kind of resonated with me once I thought it through. Toulouse could not exist in the Premiership because, well, they'd have to give away all their players.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You just couldn't have them.
Yeah. So I've come round to this. I've said this a few times. My best scenario actually would be to rip up the salary cap and have the haves and have-nots in the... Like, if all of the best England talent went to, say, 3 teams, and those 3 teams
Let Steve Lansdowne spend his billion
smashing
quid.
the Premiership, but then competing in the knockout stage of Europe every single damn year against Toulouse, against La Rochelle, against Montpellier, Toulon, my beloved Bordeaux, against Leinster. That would be the best thing for English rugby.
Because you're effectively... What you're hoping for with the salary cap is that everybody in the Premiership is better than Toulouse, because that's the only way that you basically win. Okay,
or everyone's at least as good as Bordeaux.
Yeah,
like at least like 1 in 5 can beat Toulouse, kind of thing.
Exactly.
And to your point, like you what you've just described is Leinster.
Yeah. It's what the IRFU have knowingly cultivated that position with Leinster. They could have distributed everyone evenly. They've chosen not to. It is very successful for Leinster. Could have been more successful for the last few years, but it's the best model for them.
Well, the bright spot in all this might actually be Bath or Bristol, because as that salary cap goes up, there's a handful of owners that don't really care about losing money and have the money to do it. Mm-hmm. And I think the other teams are going to feel the pressure. I don't even think Leicester can keep up. I think maybe Saracens can. But the answer is I don't know about
I don't know enough about the financials.
Yeah. Maybe Sale will want to spend the money. I don't know.
Well,
but if they decide not to...
Yeah, now Simon Orange has got a $1+ billion burning a hole in his pocket.
Yes. It's useful. It's useful to have that guy around all of a sudden.
That is very handy.
Yeah. So, I mean, if 1 or 2 of these clubs decides to just corral all the English talent, then maybe England will be okay.
But they can't... Like, under the salary cap conditions, you can't do that.
No.
Because none of those players can become marquee players for at least 3 years.
Yep.
And let's say the average England player in the Premiership is earning $350K. Let's just plug that out the air. It's probably not a million miles away.
The average Premiership player.
No.
England player. Yes,
player.
yeah, fair.
In
fine,
the
fine,
England squad. Average.
Yeah.
English,
well, if you say 17 of them now get that 150K contracts, that's probably about right. Yeah.
Which does help. But let's say that you can only have, if that is it, you can have 20 players in your squad. You'd be 20 players plus your academy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that.
No. And what you're costing yourself there is, for the national team, when you spread them out, it's the cohesion of of the combinations.
They've got to be spread across 2-3 teams.
Where's that Toulouse backbone for France now?
Northampton Saints for England.
Yeah. I mean, if Northampton can keep those boys together, and that's the challenge, isn't it, with the salary cap? Because if they...
the problem they'll have is they keep the back line together, but they'll have no pack.
Maybe that's the best case scenario. One team just does all pack stuff, the other team just does all back stuff.
But the problem with that is Finn Smith is never going to see the ball. Tom Freeman, nope.
But it just means they're going to have to be better.
First time he catches the ball, he'll be in an England shirt.
Well, it just means that those backs are going to have to be even better. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe.
I'm with you, Phil. Get rid of the salary cap.
No, I'm not. Right? Because I do not want to sacrifice my weekly dose of
Premiership
rugby for the Six Nations. Screw that.
Yeah, because you're not an England fan.
I'm not an England... Well, I am... No. You're England fans. I'm an English rugby fan. And there's a big difference between the two. I love English rugby.
Right,
You're England fans. I'm not an England fan.
Albeit maybe I just haven't managed to find the individuals that are there. But I will just say I'm fully expecting my analytics on the YouTube channel to fall off a cliff in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, are you doing... Oh, I'm not going to say...
Because because my experience from trying and persistently putting up videos that are Premiership related, there is no audience. People don't care.
Have you tried doing, like, the best England players playing in the Premiership this week or something? Spinning an England narrative into the Premiership.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, so England watch.
England watch.
What are the best bits of the England players this year?
I remember being so motivated to watch Northampton Saints when I first started watching rugby because I knew Paul Grayson played there. I was like, oh, what? Grayson plays? Awesome. And then I realised that Matt Dawson played there too. I was like, oh my God, there's loads of guys here.
That was an era which very much was, as Phil described, he would love it to be.
Yeah.
You would look at a Premiership team and it would be stacked with international stars. Not just English international stars, Argentinian and South African and New Zealand.
There is a
Great
point,
era.
There is a point made in, I've made this on the pod before, but in Soccernomics, they say in football, which is very much Premier League football, is the haves and the have-nots. Now, the have-nots are still like tens, if not hundreds of millions of pounds worth of turnover, so that it doesn't really compare to the rugby have-nots. But it's having the shop, so being one of the have-nots, like a Bournemouth or a Brighton, who are both doing quite well at the moment, but those kind of teams getting to play Liverpool and Arsenal and Man United and Man City, it is like you get 2 cup finals a year against them where you've got the giant killing shot. It's not horrendous for the fans of those clubs because you get to compete against your kind of level and then you get the chance to kill giants. It would be frustrating as an overarching fan of the league, like we're all fans of the league in the Premiership rather than an individual team because you will get some one-sided games. So from that perspective, it may go down a little bit. But if no one's watching the league anyway, if there's, I don't know what TNT Sports figures are, 50,000 a week...
Yeah, I can't imagine it's good.
It'd be interesting. I don't know the numbers. I think it. Well, they're saying they're making noises that it's been really good.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I hope it is, and I hope it's improving. But it's nowhere near football levels. There is a lot of growth potential.
Yeah, I agree. So France are ascendant. And are sort of starting to fall back, and I don't know if they'll find the firepower to fight again. England, the league is looking dicey. And that's the problem. And Wales. Just
as I'd be too wary of making too bold a prediction about England are going to be incredible. I've if you listen to the podcast, even defiantly against the general direction of travel in terms of people's opinions, I've been saying I think England are tracking well. And they've got a very, very young team, and I think the ceiling's very, very high. So I haven't changed my opinion.
I think the whole podcast has been okay. Bad results. Borthwick's still the man.
Yes,
100%.
Yeah, we've
no, we haven't. No, not on this podcast.
That's because we know what we're talking about.
Very true.
But on Ireland, I would also I do agree. They've got look at the age profile of England and France. Average age about 25. It's like frighteningly
Remarkable.
young.
Yeah, England got
frighteningly
very quick.
Yeah,
it feels. God, France are good though, aren't they?
Yeah, France are really, really good.
So good.
Just to make a point on Ireland, it was how many months ago? 8 months ago, and they were beating South Africa in South Africa. 1 year ago, and they were a drop goal away from winning a Grand Slam. This year, they were one poor performance without Andy Farrell, James Lowe, Gary Ringrose, Mac Hansen, and there's someone else key as well from and they faced a very, very, very good French team, but they won 4 games. They got a triple crown. They smashed England.
England, it was 25, 24, 27, 22, whatever it was. But England scored 2 late tries in the last 5 minutes. The game was already done before England came anywhere near back.
I think in both directions, England are suddenly on track to be incredible. I think they're moving in the right direction, but I think Wales was another step on the journey they've already been. It isn't a sudden jump upwards, as some people are characterising it, and I don't think Ireland's is a massive jump down.
Yeah. Let's just go back.
It might be a decline, but it's gradual and they can get back up.
It's never as good or as bad.
Correct.
As you think.
You've just summarised a 2-minute bit of waffle into one sentence. Thank you, Phil.
So, do you want to go back to the actual games? So,
yeah.
Let's start with Wales-England. God, this is so disappointing because I thought when this game kicked off that Wales had a chance.
So did I.
And the reason I thought that is like, for the first time I can see guys that can carry a ball. So I think David Jenkins can carry a ball. I think that Wainwright is good in the channels.
Wainwright, Faletau,
even he did actually have some moments.
Big centre Max Llewellyn.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, if they stop bending the line, we're in business here. They can do something maybe. But then you look at some of the other players and they're just not international quality. I know he's had a good tournament, and I feel I don't ever like really criticising players too much. I don't think Blair Murray is even close to an international standard fullback. He's an interesting player, but if he's English, he'd be in the Championship.
He's fun with the ball.
He's great. He's great.
He's brilliant with the ball.
But look at who the other guys are operating with: Ramos, Kinghorn, whoever else it is. I just don't think he's.
Keenan.
He's explosive and he's a fun player. Right? Attacking wise, he's dynamite.
I like him, and he could have scored with a slightly different interpretation of the law and bounce of the ball. He could have scored 2 or 3 tries.
He's just not international standard.
He's not a Ramos. He's not a Kinghorn. He's not Marcus Smith. He's not Keenan.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a problem. The pack was so disappointing. The pack got out enthused, and you just expect a pack of Welshmen in Cardiff with something to prove in the last game against England not to be out enthused. And I thought that's where England were just out exceptional. But you watch, we've been criticising Ben Earl. Not criticising. Yeah, we have, whatever. Criticising Ben Earl and the Currys. I haven't. Like the plastic energy, the clapping, the annoying pats on the head. But it all worked brilliantly, didn't it? You could not rest for a single second with those three.
And all they did was, all they've done is add maybe the smuggest, most swaggeriest back row of all of them in Henry Pollock, and I love it.
It's like Henry Pollock. It's like he's been watching these guys and then trying to design his personality around them. He's probably the worst of the lot, and he's 19 or what is he, 20 or something ridiculous. Yeah, he's just a carbon copy of those other three. They must be awful to play against. I mean, have you seen the training video of them trying to jackal a ball?
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just imagine trying to operate your breakdown with those three or those four on the field.
And by the way, the Netflix Full Contact show was an abomination. It was awful.
It wasn't good.
England Rugby are putting out some awesome content.
It is good content.
It's really, really good.
I still love that. I mean, that jackling one has gone around almost every rugby club that I've heard of. It's just such a good example of how players take ownership of a situation. They train themselves, the enthusiasm to do something as basic as compete at a ruck, and here they are. But I just love the energy they brought. The energy of the England team is awesome.
And it does help when you're getting on the front foot and making yards, bending the line, and then you throw it wide, and you've got Freeman and Roebuck, who I thought was brilliant, and Daly rolling back the years.
Yeah. Well, you can throw it wide. This is again, yes, there was maybe they dialed up the attacking intent a bit. They were playing Wales and they were points up, but rugby's just so much easier when the ball is quick, and that's what's changed with Ireland. The ball is slow. Teams have managed to slow up their ball, and they look different. But they were the best attacking team in the world when the ball was quick. England suddenly had quick ball because, as you say, they had big men who were winning every single contact. Rugby's actually really quite simple.
Well, but yeah, it's simple. It's not easy.
No, simple, not easy. Yeah. Simple, correct. Yeah.
So England.
The power game England had was just immense. And England's scrum is a strength, not a weakness.
Yeah.
Was this week? Well,
it's been
general.
All tournament.
Autumn and Six Nations.
Well, Wales did get it going backwards towards the last 20 minutes.
Genuinely, Genge and Stewart may well start for the British and Irish Lions.
Okay, we're getting carried away now.
I'm not even joking.
I think they'll definitely be in the match day 23. I think those Genge and Stewart, I think they've been brilliant all tournament.
They have been good, right? Just no. The answer is no. The answer is no.
Speak to Andy Farrell.
I will speak to Andy Farrell in depth about this, and the answer is no. Mind you, they're playing Australia, so maybe the answer is yes.
I don't know. Australia's scrum, so Taniela Tupou, Angus Bell, and if Will Skelton is behind them, they're all three of those are absolutely enormous and unique shaped individuals. Like Taniela Tupou, who's about 5'10" and 135 kg. Angus Bell is about
Squats a lot of weight, by the way.
Yeah,
a lot of
he
weight.
Is built. Angus Bell is like 6'4" and 135 kg.
Can I just say, we've talked about England's, and this is what I really like about England when I think to Australia 2027. Their team's really young and the ceiling's very high and they're tracking improvement, and that's what I like about the Six Nations. Gave it a crack against Ireland, 50 minutes, then sort of gassed themselves out a little bit and got better and better as the tournament's gone on, finished with their strongest performance. And very young. But what I look at, what pleases me most is when you look at age profile, loose head prop, 30, 70-odd caps. Hooker, 31, 50 caps. Tight head prop, 28, 50 caps. Number 4, tight head lock, 30, 93 caps. I like those numbers and that age profile of the 1 to 4 in a team.
Interesting.
It's gnarly. I like it.
Yeah. I just don't think they're good enough. I think if you look at how South Africa won the World Cup and the quality of the front row and the tight forwards, those guys are not the same quality, unfortunately. And I think they're nowhere near the quality of the young crop of New Zealanders coming through, who are absolutely outstanding. But maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. They're also, the French have got a few more cards to play yet. So if you want to be good in the tight five, you've got to be really, really good now. And they're just not big enough. They're just not. So, yeah, maybe it works, but I'm sceptical.
The one that I would like to see for England, I do like the dynamism of the England hookers. I just wish we had someone who was like 125 kg.
Yes, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
kg as a hooker. Someone like Malvaca. Or Malcolm Marks.
Malcolm Marks, Cody Taylor.
One of those.
Big, explosive, horrible. Yeah.
Yes. Someone like that.
Kepu Tuipulotu in a few years could be that kid.
Yeah, he's looking handy. Although, less said about the under-20s this week, the better.
Yeah. I mean, well, we can talk about the under-20s. Good win for Wales, and it was a poor performance from England, and the Welsh team really dug in. Great defensive effort. The worst officiating I have ever seen, with no exaggeration. That is the worst officiating of an international level game, age group or senior, that I've ever seen.
So
I
only watched the first half, but it wasn't great, was it?
It was horrendous.
Never mind.
Completely lost control, but yeah, fair play Wales, well done.
Yes, exactly. So, speaking of horrendous refereeing, I went in to watch... 8 o'clock I sat down.
Yes.
And I was full of optimism. I was bouncing off the walls after that brilliant...
Did you have a couple of cold ones in the fridge that you'd prepared? A couple of
do you know where I sat down?
Craft ales?
I sat down on my turbo trainer and watched the first 40 minutes.
Love it.
On that. I'd been in London for a couple of days last week, so I'd had a few beers in London. But sat on the bike watching it, and my mind, when I saw Matt Carley was lining up, my mind went back a few years to a time when Spain, our beloved Spain, were playing against the minnows of Belgium. They just needed a win. They are in a great year. And another team needed a win. That happened to be Romania.
Romania, yeah.
And Romania happened to have a referee who was on the park that day. And he might have given 1 or 2 marginal calls in Belgium's favour.
24 3-point kicks later.
Yeah. It was way over 20 penalties against Spain, and Belgium won. Romania have the successful qualification for the World Cup. It's a tale as old as time.
So you thought Matthew Carley, English referee in Paris, he's our sleeper agent, he's going to bring it home.
He's going to give the worst display of refereeing since either Friday night England-Wales or Belgium versus Spain. And he let us all down. He, if anything, came slightly on the French side in a couple of marginal calls, but he's a great referee.
The 2 English referees were excellent.
Luke Pearce
Luke Pearce was great in the game earlier.
Oh, yes, of course he did.
And Matthew Carley was great.
Carley.
Although we can talk about one decision, maybe
Something is going on in rugby. Believe me, it is happening. They are being told to let things go. I just think that the super strict era of everyone must be carded and behaviours must... It's all changed. I'd never hear it now.
It has changed.
It's changed.
The implementation... The laws, the guidelines are the same. The head contact process is still the same as it was 4 years ago. But the implementation of it is different.
It's almost like they've woken up from a trance and they're like, hang on, were we really listening to those idiots like Alison Pollock and Darren White? Did we actually do that? And someone's like,
do World Rugby subscribe to this podcast? I think
they must do.
They
actually must do, right? And they sort of woke up from this trance and like, Christ, we've been no fun, have we? Hang on, are we the bad guys?
Yeah.
And they've gone back to the referee and said, look, just referee it. Imagine this, referee it like it's rugby. All right, boss, we can do that. What these behaviour changes? Fuck them. Gone. Gone. Right? They do not need any more coaching points, any more changes of behaviour. I think we're good where we are. That Malvaca incident was a red. Okay? It was a red. I'm so glad it wasn't. Because it wasn't a red, was it? Do you know what they should have done? They should have carded the Scottish player. Everyone in rugby would have celebrated that, wouldn't they?
So I think the fairest thing, we'll get into a bit more detail, the fairest thing would have been, to be consistent with last few years, red card for Malvaca, HIA for Ben White. Ben White,
that is literally what would have happened.
You've got to go up for... You can't... If you're going down with holding your face like that, it's a HIA, pal.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was literally what we were saying a few years ago. Yeah. Everyone was holding their heads like HIA.
The only possible outcomes from that Malvaca headbutt charge thing, whatever, petulant play after the whistle, the only outcomes are a straight red card, not a 20-minute red card, a straight red card.
Yeah.
Or he makes the two players stand up and makes them shake hands and get on with the game, like we're in 1986, or he gives nothing and gives a yellow card for simulation to Ben White.
I think that
there are no other options that should be acceptable.
I genuinely think if he gave a yellow card to Ben White, it'd be one of the most celebrated decisions in all of rugby history. So do you know you go onto Instagram and sometimes there's montages of referees telling players off, which I don't really like, but that would be the one, wouldn't it? You, fine, yellow card. No, penalty against Malvaca, reversed, yellow carded for simulation.
Or an HIA, I wouldn't have been against. That's a straight red card. It's petulant. It's egregious. It's totally dangerous and unnecessary. Get off.
It's just
and
unnecessary.
Go.
Yeah, it's just
your night is done. And also, Ben White, don't milk it. Have 10 minutes yourself.
Yeah, just as long as White gets a card.
Yeah. I would have been up for that.
Yeah, I would have been happy with that as well. But it's frustrating because I think friend of the pod Lee made this point. Matt Carley is an absolute stickler for the rules.
Yeah.
If he plays he would just, because of the bunker system, he's like, all I need to do is check it meets the yellow card.
It's met the yellow card threshold.
Therefore, we'll get play started as fast as possible. Someone else has got 10 minutes. If that's Matt Carley in the bunker with 10 minutes to review that,
he gives that a red.
That's a red
straight red card. Marius Juncker is the villain in this story, not Matt Carley, who's getting a load of heat for it. Matt Carley should have given a straight red, but he's obviously been.
But they're told not
the
to.
The referee's job
take enough time to do it. So he's Matt Carley, as Matt Carley always will do, is following the protocols as they've been as he's been told to.
Marius Juncker. That's shocking.
He would make a wonderful prison camp guard.
What do you? Well, here's a question, because Ross Vincent, did he get a red card? Was that 20 minutes?
That was a 20 minute.
That was a 20-minute red.
Yeah.
Right. So, what do you have to do now to get a full red card?
Yeah. Well,
so it can't be accidental, can it?
Yeah. So the Ross Vincent, that was high degree of danger, high force, clearly, but it was just clumsy. Yeah. It was reckless, definitely, with high degree of danger.
Yeah.
The Malvaca one, while the danger and intensity is low, it's like, so there's one of the statements in the World Club, the head contact framework process is mitigation will not apply for intentional, ignore that, or always illegal acts of foul play. That Malvaca, so the whistle has gone. It's not a tackle. It's not a ruck. Ben White does not have the ball. There is no reason why Malvaka should be making contact with that individual.
Hang on. But what is foul play? And I would say, much like pornography, I know it when I see it. And
well, so the first question in this framework.
I don't need that.
We'll help you.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine, thanks. I'm fine.
Has head contact occurred?
Don't need.
No, I don't like that obsession with head contact. Because even if he'd missed, you just launched yourself at a player after the whistle had gone. What are you doing? Red card. Get off.
Weird. I mean, we know launching. I mean, it's fine. It's just fine.
Do you know what I would? So generally speaking, I'm minded. I like the fact that there seems to be an attempt to step away from the madness that World Rugby instigated and some high-profile people in the game of rugby whipped up into a frenzy. Yeah. I'm quite glad that we're climbing back from that. But on this particular occasion, what my preferred outcome would have been straight red card Malvaka, you knob. And I would have been fine with Matt Carley using that word. You've just been a dickhead. Get off the field. Ben White, you milked that, mate. Take 10. And Tomo Ramos, you whipped the whole thing up by pushing him over. Take 10 as well. Would have loved it.
I mean, I just think it's good that World Rugby have woken up to the fact that it now knows its audience are not crazy cat ladies with 12 cats, all of which hate the lady, right? And instead are actual people like us who I don't mind it.
We should have known. We should have seen that this is the case because they're acknowledging that we've already pointed out that World Rugby or the Six Nations as an organisation are stepping back from the madness because they're willing to call it the men's Six Nations.
Yeah, but it's
they're still
the player of the match, not man of the match.
So they get introduced as the men's Six Nations Guinness Player of the Match.
Incredible. Incredible.
You can say it's the men's Six
Congratulations,
Nations.
Congratulations, you are the men's Guinness Six Nations Player of the Match.
Yes.
Because, of course, you don't need to be a man to play in the men's Six Nations, right? Is that correct? Is that the theory?
Well, there is
Maybe.
nothing stopping a trans man from playing in the... I mean, other than... physicality and athleticism. But I don't think there's any rules stopping, any laws stopping a trans man from playing. But there are laws stopping trans.
There never
women
are
from playing.
laws that way round, generally speaking.
Yes.
So, maybe that will be the next thing to change. The man of the match. Imagine the man of the match comes back. Oh God, nature is healing.
But
I was on telly doing the interviews. I've already mentioned this before, but I remember vividly having thoughts in my head as I was giving the man of the match, player of the match interview, thinking, this is nuts. Don't say man. Remember, don't say the word man.
Don't obsess about not saying the word man.
Don't obsess. And I remember thinking, this is... how am I in this clown world? Is this really happening?
Well, what did... what was the Orwell thing? Like when you accept the lie or some such thing?
Yeah. That was the final. You had to deny the truth of your
whatever it was,
whatever that line is that Orwell says. Yeah,
but did Austin Healey refuse to say?
For a bit. He fell in line eventually, but
did he?
He would sort of take some glee in saying, "And that's my choice for man of the match." But it's fine. But the madness is ebbing away. But maybe on this occasion, the madness should have come back. Common sense should have come back.
I really do think...
do you actually... Sorry, I know I'm joking. Do you actually think it should have been a red card?
So go back 10 years. No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I think if you follow the head contact process and you're consistent with how it's been applied for the last few years, I think we've all seen those...
I don't care about the head contact side of it. I don't care about the head. If he'd hit him on... If he'd clocked him... If he'd done a Zidane and headbutted his chest, it's like, I was after the whistle, a total cheap shot, get off.
If it was a Zidane, but it's the fact that it is head on head that we've seen this. We've seen this so many times now.
Yeah. So I'd say what's been doing the rounds recently is, I think, Rob Sodoli or Ian Goff, one of those two, because I always get mixed up, versus Paul O'Connell scrapping.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, on the deck. Yeah.
And I think we need more of that.
There's little fists going in.
I'm thinking, why has this been shared so many more times than whatever the
That's
next
what people want to see.
That's what people want to see. And they get back up, and they sort of get back up like nothing's happened, and they run off into their own corners.
Tell me what ice hockey you've seen in 2024-25.
Canada getting absolutely panned by America.
But when you say panned, what do you mean?
Oh, filled in. Absolutely filled in.
Exactly. You watched the first 9 seconds in which there were 3 different fights.
Yeah.
And you didn't see, and you don't even know what the score of the match was, do you?
Oh, I knew which way the game was going. As soon as I seen the first three fights, I knew Freedom was winning.
There were a couple of other decisions. Because now, the 2 that stood out to me, one, I think it probably was, but I don't actually know because I didn't see the replay because they didn't show it.
They didn't show the replay.
The Kinghorn.
Tom Jordan try.
Yeah, Kinghorn
break, elbow in touch, apparently.
Yes. But I felt strongly that was the French TV editor, executive, not showing the replay.
Yeah. How can that be the case? It's like the biggest day of that tournament and the biggest moment of one of the biggest moments in the final game. How could what are you playing at?
I was amazed they could get a replay of Mauvaca, but they only got
those 2 angles.
2 angles,
yeah.
which I'm sure.
I guess the third looks horrific.
I'm sure every other there is. I don't know, 30 cameras in that stadium at least. There's every other angle must look so bad. And then the other one, there was one that was late on. I think the game was already done at this point, but there was a Scotland tackle 5 metres from their own line and 2 yards from touch, and the tackled player was driven into touch, like kind of tackle completed and driven into touch, and it should have been Scotland 5 metre line out, opportunity to clear their line, still massive pressure, and Matt Carley gave it as a penalty to France because
tackle complete, you have to let go.
Yeah, let go and drag. I know it's me as an England fan probably being frustrated at that. Matt Carley obviously had a better view. And he is an absolute stickler for the process. So I will wholeheartedly give him the benefit of the doubt. But it was a bit frustrating as an England fan watching a few of those, thinking, if they only just go the other. If we get the
how awful for you to have to watch this from that angle. I was watching it just for the joy of French rugby.
Well, and then once France were 2 scores up, then I could just relax and enjoy.
They've got
enjoy France.
Just awesome.
Did Pinot score? He didn't, did he?
No. So he's still tied with Serge Blanco. At this rate, BL is going to be the top try scorer in French hit.
He's going to break all records.
He is, isn't he?
What is it? Like 18 tries in 19 tests, something like that.
Something.
It's like nuts.
I'm sure that Ben Cohen had a strike rate similar to that up to his first 20 games.
What's the
Freeman obviously broke a record.
Scored in every game.
Scored in every game. And if Pinot scored this game, he would have joined him.
No. Pinot got dropped last week. He got dropped for
He was on the bench.
No, he got dropped. He got dropped for Italy.
He played. He played for Bordeaux in that game.
Bloody hell.
So Pinot missed the Wales game because of a toe injury, and he got dropped for the Italy game because he had a stinker against England. He missed the games where they scored like over 100 points. He would have broken the record. But BLBRA equalled the most tries in a Six Nations Championship.
Did Ramos get the most ever points for Frenchmen?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's not even 500 points. We've talked about this before.
Oh, have we?
Because of the incredible amount of competition
at scrum half,
at scrum half, and at 10, it's so many players. It's so hard to hold your position down. So Dan Carter's got 1,600 points. Owen Farrell 1,200. The highest ever French point scorer is 470 something.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's amazing.
I looked up the list. I've got it in front of me now. The top international players
for France.
No, for top international point scorers.
Yeah,
there isn't a Frenchman in the top 40.
So the top 30 go down to 651 points. So that's 50% more points than any Frenchman has.
Wow, that's news to me.
That's tier 1 as well. If you include tier 2 in there,
can you give me a list of top French scorers so we can guess them?
Well, we saw it this weekend. So
we saw it. So
I've not seen it.
So Tom Ramos took over from Freddie Michalak.
Yeah, and I was going to say,
brace the rudders, raise the sails, raise the sails.
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Prime members, are you tired of ads interfering with your favorite podcasts? Good news. With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free podcasts. That's amazon.com/ad-free podcasts to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
I don't know who one of the scrum offs.
Yashvili.
Yashvili, I think it's.
I think Blanco on tries and a few kicks.
Lemaitre and Morgan Parra, I think, are the top 5.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Like, over 1,000 points. So you've got, I think you've mentioned some of these, Tim, but Carter, Farrell, Wilkinson,
O'Gara,
Sexton, Neil Jenkins, O'Gara, Diego Dominguez are the 7 boys over 1,000.
Another point on that it's so hard to hold your position down in a French team is that Gaël Fickou is still only 30, is now clear as the third or fourth. No, clear as the 4th most caps for France. Yeah. But France only have 2 centurions in the history of rugby.
Oh,
who are the 2 centurions for France?
Fabien Pelouse.
Well, that's a good guess.
Very good, Phil.
Michalak.
Is he number 1?
Yeah, Fabien Pelouse is 1.
I'm guessing, by the way, you're not answering yes.
Michalak is not.
It's not Michalak.
Is it Ibanez?
Ibanez is got 98, I think. Something like that.
Shout. Someone who went for, like, Nicolas Ma, who went on for ages. But I bet he didn't stop playing until he was
It's
like
not
20.
really your era. I don't know if you know them. I have very, very, very vague memories of this player, or at least people telling me about how good this player was. So
go on.
It's Philippe Sella.
Okay, yeah.
Amazing outside centre.
Yes.
But no.
Like, I just picture... So he's I can't remember which club he's at. You often see him in the European games and put on a bit of timber since his playing days.
Yes, some of these players do.
Oh, Serge Blanco, that's him.
Is that Serge Blanco?
Yeah,
Serge Blanco's put on.
Am I getting confused with Philippe Sella? I'm sure, is he not?
Maybe Serge Blanco's the most capped. I don't know. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Fabien Pelouse was up there. But anyway.
Only 2 central. Yeah, now, I think you're suffering from framing effect there, Tim. You said it's so hard to keep your team...
Okay, I'm adding a reason behind it.
Yeah, maybe you meant the dysfunction of the French national team rather than... Because the way you say it is like, yeah, they must be
here you go.
Here
you go. Fabien Pelouse, 118. Philippe Sella, 111. Ibanez, Fickou, 4th. Serge Blanco, 5th. Olivier Magna, Damien Try. Nicolas Ma, who I mentioned, 85 caps. Sylvain Marconnet and Dmitry Zazevsky.
Oh, wow.
So number 10 on the list is 83 caps. And you think, compare that to other countries.
Yeah.
New Zealand, they've got tons of centurions. South Africa have got a bunch of centurions. England have got 7.
7 is it, Ben Youngs
was the most recent.
Oh no, well, Jamie George. So they might have 8 now.
Oh yeah, 8.
8
100 caps.
Yeah.
Crikey.
There's a lot more games now.
Yeah, this is true.
There's a lot more games.
Yeah. So back to Fickou. Magnificent for the Open.
Mo Afana.
Yeah,
Mo Afana's.
So he's only 24 and he's got 40 caps.
Ooh.
Yeah, the upper limit for this French team, because they're just bringing in more guys who are adding to it. It's not like they are in an injury crisis. They're just putting more, and the things they've got in the pipeline as well. The size they've got in the pipeline. La Rochelle have found some, I don't know, 600-kilogram Australian from somewhere who they're grooming down on the Atlantic coast.
The good grooming or the bad grooming?
What's the difference? Like he will be playing soon. Who's a tight prop which have
Tatafu's made his debut.
Acquired
150 kilo Tongan playing for
just like
Bayonne.
Wild. So I think Tuolangi is another one. So they're just building this absolute behemoth of a team. I don't see it slowing down.
Just on try records and scoring records. So Will Jordan obviously doesn't play for France, or indeed in the Six Nations. He has played 41 tests.
40 tries? 39.
38 tries.
38.
But 38 tries in 36 starts. And in only 41 caps, he is 11 tries off the all-time All Blacks record. which is remarkable.
And he's actually worked for a bunch of them. Like when you look at Julian Savia, who was just like
walking in.
I could have scored. I'm not. Hey, so Julian Savia was an amazing player, but I legitimately could have scored about 20 of his international
for
tries.
years, you had no idea if Savia was any good at all. It was only when he played against France and scored a hat-trick.
Oh, that France.
Oh, hang on a minute. This guy can play.
Yeah.
But you're right. For the majority of his career, he'd catch the ball and put it down. Like, what a waste of a 6'4" man.
110 kg.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Savia try, Julian Savia try against France
Why
in 2015.
did his career vanish? He went to Toulon, didn't he?
He went to France.
That was
and
after
then he came
it had
back.
already faded a bit.
Yeah,
Like his brother's just gone.
Wasn't there a little bit of a domestic situation?
Oh,
and
dear.
then I think he maybe stopped playing, and then he went to France, and then he came back because he came back, played a bit for the Hurricanes, and then went to Moana Pacifica.
Also, he was so good so young, which again, we always imagine that improvement in players is going to be linear and consistent.
Yeah,
consistently up and to the right,
and then
it's going nowhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And in the same way that people have this biased thing that as soon as your age begins with a 3, you're going to have a rapid downward trajectory. So you might as well get rid of you.
Mm.
And just on England, George Ford demonstrated that that's preposterous. He's 32 today. Happy birthday, George Ford.
Birthday.
He was ace when he came on. Finn Smith was really good, but George Ford as well was absolutely class.
Are you
both
accepting that Finn Smith is now the boy forever?
No,
I'm not sure that's how it will play out.
How do you think it's going to play out?
I think there's going to be a bit of a tussle between Finn Smith and Marcus Smith.
Do you think the gloves are going to come off at training or?
Probably not in that degree, but I think there is a bit of different tools for different situations. I think there will be. I think we've not seen the last of Freddie Stewart. I think we will see him in close quarters kicking battles.
Yep.
I loved seeing Roebuck get selected for this. I loved him scoring his try. Loved him to give a bit of extra.
Boso, though, he's going to come back as well.
He is. But he'll come back and be brilliant.
Yeah.
But I love seeing Roebuck get his opportunity. And I think because Marcus Smith got... he didn't have the best time under the high ball against Italy last week. They targeted him a little bit. I thought it was a great idea to bring... Well, to have... You had Freeman, Daly and Roebuck all on the pitch.
There's another player that England, a lot of England fans have written off and said should be out of the squad. Elliot Daly, how good has he been? I would not be surprised if he goes on another Lions tour.
He was good.
He was great.
Particularly if Farrell goes. I do think they work so well together. I really do. I mean, that's not even a joke. I think
no, they do.
When they are together, they are magic.
They do, definitely.
So, I just want to focus on the fly halves a second.
Yeah.
So, do you agree, Tim, that there's more to come? Do you think there's going to be a tussle between Finn Smith?
I mean, Finn Smith's been absolutely brilliant, but I would not draw any long-term conclusions from that. He's great now, and he's the incumbent, and he was really good. So
do you think?
I imagine he'll get it, but I think Marcus Smith could get it back. I think George Ford could have a say.
Well, one of the things...
George Ford's on 99 caps, isn't he?
He's on 99 caps.
Oh.
One of the things which is disappointing for me, watching English rugby, is there was never enough rivalry between Ford and Farrell. They were always mates.
Because England didn't have a 12.
Well, if I would quite like Smith and Smith to be arch rivals. I want that matchup to be really spicy. And I'm just worried that with one of them playing 15 now, it's just a little bit of a fudge. Like, I want them to be at each other.
I think Phil's on the money here. Look at South Africa. Andre Pollard never complains, and he's perfectly happy being number 23, coming on and being the clutch kicker and winning. Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu is a star. Marnie Libok's still got a role to play. That's how the world champions roll. I like that England have got something similar.
No, let's just slow our roll on that one. Pollard knows he's the man. Okay.
Yeah.
Look. You don't need to.
World
play.
Cup final next weekend. He starts.
Exactly. If it's a big game, you're still our boy. You just don't need to worry about these group games. Don't worry about it. They can all fight over your shit. But when it comes to it, you are our boy. These English and fly halves are completely different. They are fighting to be the boy. No one holds a candle to Pollard. So I just want to see them. I want to see them at each other. The England team are so friendly and chummy. I want to see them in the domestic situation batter each other. Do you know, like Wasps used to hate Leicester?
Yes.
They absolutely...
In that early 2000s.
Yeah, like Delalio would be leathering Martin Johnson. In fact,
or Martin Corrie, or both.
Yeah, both. Well, I bet Martin Corrie hates.
Do you know what would facilitate that happening? If the media were nice to England. Because I think I'm not even joking.
Because they feel that they're under siege all the time.
Like Ellis Genge, who doesn't tweet very often, he went onto Twitter at the weekend and went to those England fans who've been behind us. Thanks so much. To the rest of you, hope you enjoyed that.
Which is probably a specific dig at Will Carling as well, because they've had a bit of a spat, haven't they? Yeah,
and also the big difference now is those central contracts. They do make the England boys feel like they are England players first and club players second. So there's a bit more kinship. I just want them to hate each other during the Premiership.
If it helps you to tell yourself that they hate each other, like Ben Spencer and Owen Farrell, or Owen Farrell and Ben Spencer, you tell yourself that.
Well, I bet there's far more rivalry between Finn Smith and say Finn Russell, or Marcus Smith and Finn Russell, because they want to get one over on Finn Russell. When they play each other, they just seem to chummy. Maybe Ford will be the odd one up, because he is the one who has to be forced out to accommodate these two new young lads.
I would love to know what George Ford has been liking in camp, because I bet he must have been, at least privately, really, really frustrated.
Do you know who wouldn't put up with this? And who would leather someone for taking his position? Owen Farrell. It's just a shame he's not in the country.
No, do you know what Owen Farrell would do? He would do exactly what you do. He'd wait for training and put a massive shot on them.
Yeah, legal as well. Legal.
Put a massive legal
shot. Quotes.
And
you hit Andre Esther.
And any coach, and if you were a coach and a player competing for a position did that, you would love it and pick him for it.
Yeah. I know how Wasps felt when he did that to Troy Atkinson.
Yeah, that one was definitely not legal.
Absolutely leathered him.
Oh, you mentioned someone before, Alison Pollock.
Oh yes, mother of.
Yeah, you remember she was always banging on about her boy, her lad who got injured.
Yes,
fantastic to see after her Tiger mother parenting. He got 2 tries on his debut this weekend.
Would it be marvellous if they were actually related?
So son,
yeah, of course.
Henry Pollock is son of Alison.
I think his son's called.
Add it to the rugby. Famous rugby. Do you know who? I think I might have mentioned this on the pod before.
Mum's an activist.
Do you know who Joe Hayes' dad is, or what he did as a profession?
Boxer?
Not a boxer.
Barber?
Not a barber.
He's got a terrible lid.
Hang on. Hayes a big boy, isn't he?
He is a big boy.
So he's improved as well.
He has improved.
I'm thinking
still got a bit of improvement.
I wonder, Steve Ball, because all these players, Will Stewart suddenly looks really good at scrummaging. Ellis Genge, Joe Hayes looks really good at scrummaging. I'm thinking this is coaching.
Well,
I think we might need to give Borthwick a bit of credit here.
Borthwick and what's the name of the young scrum coach? Who's younger
whoever that guy is.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can picture him. He's younger than Jamie George. He's like 32 or 33.
So, Hayes' dad. Big boy, like a farmer or a builder, something like that.
He's a big boy. His
strong man.
His size is important, but not his strength.
He
Jockey.
is.
No, big boy.
Okay.
He's in a profession that is famous for being tall.
He's a bouncer.
Not a bouncer, and he is famous. He's got his dad and his granddad were both the same profession, and they both have Wikipedia pages.
Hold on, but not being strong, but being big.
Well, you've got to be tall to
police officer.
Not a police officer.
Chimney sweep? I've got no idea.
They've probably changed the rules on police officers. It used to be there was a minimum height for police officers.
I think there still is, but it's like 5'3" or something. For a man.
Let's be honest, the standard for police officers is pretty. It's gone down a bit, hasn't it?
It has.
They've all got sleeve tattoos now, and they dress like paramilitary. It's hard to know if they're bouncers or policemen.
They all do that thing where they put their hands inside their vest.
Yeah.
I
do.
It's like the police equivalent of those scallies on the corner that have their hands down their trousers.
I like seeing a big in shape policeman.
100%.
I hate seeing a
fat ones. No,
no,
totally agree. However, I also want them to go back into traditional uniforms.
Yeah.
I hate it when they dress like paramilitary.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
Joe Hayes' dad and granddad.
Big, but not
Basketball?
Strength.
No, but you're on the right lines.
Handball?
No.
Volleyball.
No. It's a specific position in a different ball.
Goalkeeper?
Goalkeepers.
Really?
So Darren Hayes, English goalkeeper, and George Hayes, Leicester City and Swansea goalkeeper.
Let's see, a Swansea goalkeeper. How interesting.
Yeah.
So that's where he's got his sporting prowess from.
And his height, size?
Well,
Maybe
not his-
height.
Yeah, maybe height.
Height.
He's not even that tall, is he? He's 6'2"?
6'3".
No, yeah, okay, he's fairly big.
He's for
He's pretty big.
For a civilian.
Yeah.
He's a decent sized chap.
Do you want to talk quickly about goings on in the Premiership?
Premiership Cup or the proposal to loan Newcastle some money?
Firstly, did Didsbury Talk H play this weekend?
Oh,
Didn't.
great question.
And they're not playing next weekend, but we are playing the weekend after that. It's
Okay.
Wilmslow and then one last hurrah.
Oh, come on.
Richmond are coming up to Sedgley Park this weekend, Phil.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to be watching?
I might pop along and watch. Might go to Sedge.
Oh, do it.
As Richmond go for promotion in National 1.
Have you seen the massive referee who does Nat 1?
No.
I've seen this guy a few times. There's a referee in Nat 1, bald head, absolutely jacked. He is enormous. I've seen him like 3 or 4 times now. He was at Sale this weekend doing the Sale, whoever they played. But yeah, once you see him once, you see him everywhere because he's just hard to miss.
Aylesbury's last home game of the season this weekend. I knew you'd no. Like this weekend coming. I knew you'd want to mention they play against HAC.
Oh, do they?
Oh, the Honourable Artillery Club.
Honourable Artillery Club. Yeah, so I thought you'd want to know that. No, but there was no rugby in Regional 2 Thames.
No, there wasn't up in the ADMs either. Two's game, and that's about it. Although, Didsbury Talk H this week did a hot dog eating contest. Right?
Like the Joey Chestnut, what do they call it?
Yes.
The 4th of July.
So a message went out to the group, okay, that the record for hot dogs, and I don't know what the time frame is, but the record was in the 80s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, so that's a lot of hot dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of hot dogs.
Yes.
And we had some rules like no dunking, no spewing, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then all the boys put on bets as to how many hot dogs would be consumed by the winner.
Yes.
Which ranged from whatever it was, like 16 all the way to 60, but no one went for the whole 80.
So the record is 83 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we did 10 minutes.
By Joey Chestnut.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting as well.
Revolting. Well, that's do you know what the winning...
How many calories is that?
Let's not even think about it. Don't think about it.
Yeah. So the winning, I'm going to guess 14...
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
No, maybe slightly more.
Hot
18.
dogs, little hot dogs. It's the buns, though. They're so, like, how do you eat those quickly?
Do you know how they do it in the competition?
They dunk them in water,
yeah,
don't they?
Double dunk. So 2 at once, double dunk in water, and just, like, choke it down.
It is revolting. See, I think it's going to be something like 8. I'm going to go 8.
No, 18.
Correct number, 8.
8
is all they can manage.
Pathetic.
Pathetic losers.
Now that is pathetic.
8 buns that's just a lot. It's just hard to get down.
A stodge.
A lot of stodge.
I mean,
so you have to actually chew that stuff.
1/10. What?
They should have at least done an EMOM.
So,
that's probably a better way to do it, isn't it? You got a minute.
Yeah, every minute on the minute. Yeah, they couldn't even do an EMOM.
Yeah.
10 minutes, 10 buns. But so 10 times worse than the record. I know it's not quite that, but if that was the 100 meters,
exactly,
like an 80-second 100 meters.
Yeah, it's ridiculously poor.
It's a poor, like a snail can do that. They're the equivalent of a hot dog eating snail.
I was going to say about eating challenges actually disgust me. They are.
I've done a few in my time. I did there's Meat Liquor in London.
But isn't that a spicy one though?
So that was a triple chili challenge that if you completed, it was chili fries, a chili burger, and a chili hot dog in 10 minutes. You get it for free, and you get your name on the wall.
You completed that?
Yeah. Pretty easy. I did it with a good friend, Harry.
Yep, I remember this.
And Harry's about a foot taller than me. He's about 6'7", 6'8", that kind of height. And he must, certainly in those days, this is over 10 years ago, he must have been 30 kilograms heavier than me.
Yeah.
He got about halfway through it, and I gave up after 5 minutes. I'm never going to finish this. I can't do it. 2 minutes to spare, easy.
Our friend Harry, right, who you know, of course.
Yeah.
Such a big man that when we used to go out to the pubs and clubs of Manchester, we used to bump into other rugby teams.
Yeah, Dean Schofield.
Yeah. So he's so massive.
Dean Williams.
You would just assume that he played because he's with loads of rugby players, and the amount of people that lied to him about their playing career because they thought he was good. There's one guy who said that he remembers him from the Leicester Tigers Academy. I'm like, no, you don't, mate. You absolutely don't, because you never played for Leicester Tigers Academy.
I played a couple of games with Harry. He's a great friend of mine. Not a great rugby player.
Yeah, I can't imagine he would be.
Just on eating challenges, did you ever see that photograph of Pete Doherty outside a cafe trying to bearing in mind this is a guy who was, I don't know, he did every drug there was in the chemically enhanced in the 2000s.
I doubt he ate Duan van der Merwe chemical enhancement.
I doubt he ate a meal that wasn't some sort of chemical in the early 2000s. But as he's got older, that's him outside a cafe in Margate.
Oh God,
God,
that looks like a horrible situation to be in for everyone involved.
Disgusting.
Anyway,
you want to talk about Newcastle?
Yeah, just before we go to that, I just want to, because we got some great emails. I just thought I'd share this one.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we did get some
Stuart Hamilton Smith. Contact eggchasers@gmail.com. Thank you, Stu, for getting in touch. He says, I've just seen the Henry Pollock post-match interview on the pitch on the England Rugby feed. Very humble, ticked all the media boxes, and the guy played brilliantly. And then Stu goes on, don't you just wish for once a post-match interview was arrogant, confident and totally strutting? Yes. Pollock would have been the one to do it. For example, imagine Henry Pollock. Yeah, those tries were totally my doing. If I hadn't been there, no chance Daly could finish that with that 2 to beat on the wing. Just want to thank all my fans. I know there's loads of them. Glad Wales didn't turn up today, made us look good. Nice to see the fans totally humbled for once. Pretty quiet here at the Principality, actually. I'm off to get smashed with the lads and celebrate.
I would love that.
Probably a debut forfeit, including nudity and drinking, but hey, it's bloody rugby, isn't it? And we love it. See you on my next cap. Kids, stay in school and don't do drugs.
Shout out to my mum.
Shout out to his family. Niche reference there.
The references JB gave. Just type in David Guetta.
Shout out to his family.
Shout out to my family. It is
oh God,
one of the cringeworthiest moments in human history.
I've said this a million times before, but yeah, it's like when Stuart Lancaster got them all to write messages on their shirts. Someone should just wrote, "I told you so." I told you so, and left it at that. Who was interviewed this week? It was Chad Morgan had to do his interview, and I just felt so sorry for him. We just taking one game at a time. It was the most stilted. At that point, you're in the deer of your professional life. Just be honest. Just tell us exactly how you feel.
I must say this. So I watched the O2 Inside Line on YouTube last week with Jimmy George getting his 100th cap. And it had a big section on him and his young daughter who's, I don't know, maybe 10 months old, something like that. And he got a question about, like, how's she doing? What does it mean? And he answered it kind of on her behalf as if she was giving a post-match interview. So he's like,
she's taking one day at a time.
She's incredibly human. She's taking it one day at a time. Like, she's just building. Like, she's still learning. Like, she's got a lot to prove to get on to the next step. She's just trying to lift up the people around. If you get a chance to watch it, just watch it.
I don't want to watch that. I categorically do not want to watch that.
It's amazing. You can tell how, like, these guys they're so media trained now that they must just have these things, these like cliches on repeat.
Oh, they do. They absolutely do. And it doesn't help them. I mean, look at a guy who I love listening to is James Maddison. I think he's a really insightful, interesting guy who just speaks without... Actually, tell you who else is really good at this. You ever listen to Jude Bellingham?
I think I have, but
He's really interesting.
I would have... maybe I've not, because I would have imagined that he's more the cliche type.
No, he's not. Well, from what I remember, at least. I think a lot of the footballers are reverting. I think their media training has been more sophisticated. Like, give the people something. Don't give them the phrases.
Because the rugby is clearly the cookie-cutter media training.
Yeah.
It's the cheap one. We've only got £100 spent on media training. There you go. It's not the
super slick, build your brand.
The cockamedia media training.
But I'm sure that these lads are starting to get better coaching now because they do sound interesting without being controversial.
Yeah.
Which is a good way of doing it.
Yeah. Newcastle. Should we talk about Newcastle quickly?
Oh, yes. And finally, no. Sorry, one final thing. Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to get your thoughts on, like, we've already talked about the replay that wasn't there, but your reflections on, because it's going to be on BBC and ITV for the next 4 years, your thoughts about that and how you thought the Six Nations was broadcast.
Well, okay, so the French broadcast was really cool. I love the little cinematic thing. I mean, they've really gone to town and thought about something a bit different there. I like that. I thought it was really cool.
It's amazing that they can turn that up to 11 and then they cannot get the replays.
It's weird, isn't it?
Impossible.
Yeah, I wonder how that works.
Yeah, who knows?
I just don't get animated about this anymore because I don't watch the whole broadcast. This weekend was unusual for me that I did actually watch a lot of the broadcast. I watch it on rewind, on delay, I should say. Fast forward it, so I don't really care. Do I care it's on terrestrial? I don't really get as animated as everyone else. I don't care. I mean,
I think TNT Sport would do a much better job.
I'm sure they would. I mean, you see some of the people that they drag out to do these things, like Sonia McLaughlin. Oh God, do we need to see her again? It all felt...
It's what they do with them, right? So if you had a blank bit of paper, it's the Six Nations. This is the best annual sporting competition in the world. If you had the chance to run a programme that's covering a Six Nations game, that should be like, oh my God, this is the best gig in the world. Yeah. And if you had a blank bit of paper, what shall we do? What could we do? How could we cover it? And then some of the choices they make, some of the people they choose. Let's have an interview with one person chatting to one person with some platitudes and general stuff. It's like they've gone, well, let's just do it the way we've always done it. And that's what I find disappointing.
All get in your suits, all wear a tie, number one. Beautiful people only, number two. Beautiful and insightful. The studio thing adds nothing, does it? Maybe it just feels like, there's no imagination to it. I love the French coverage itself, and I think maybe they want to be scrapping it all. Maybe they want to think of it completely different, because a lot of people are not watching it live now. I don't think they enjoy the broadcast. I don't think that the halftime show to me has to be compelling in some way, shape, or form. And it's not. There's no tactics in there. There's no nothing.
Well, on the people watching it live, I think that's actually contrary to what I understand. I understand that, like ITV, for example, and other networks are really, really want desperate to keep the rugby, and because it's one time when actually there is an appointment to watch live and people are sitting down, and particularly when it happens in conjunction with some of their big primetime shows on a Saturday or a Friday, it actually is it's helping the audience for the stuff that people could watch not live.
Was it Johnny Beastie doing the comms for one of them?
He was one of the guests
on
the Scotland game.
France. Yeah. Because he obviously Scottish,
French,
played in France,
lives in France, speaks fluent French.
There you go.
Did you see the video of Finn Russell doing press after the captain's run on the Friday, and answered a 2-minute question in full fluent French?
Good old Finn.
Which I know he played in France. I'm
sure Owen Farrell is completely fluent now.
I'm not certain. I know I shouldn't be surprised, but I was really impressed. Really impressed. And it was 2 minutes of complete fluent, including the what appeared to me to be the appropriate facial expressions at the appropriate time as well. It was an incredibly French answer,
shrugging and stuff.
Yeah, and the the downturned mouth.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah, very good. So I think I might have done everything now on Six Nations for the time.
There is one more thing that I want to do at the end, but let's do Newcastle.
Yeah, okay,
JB's
cool.
itching.
What's going on?
So sounds like a mixture of CVC, Bath, or should I say Mr. Craig, and also Mr. Lansdowne are concocting a way to loan 4-point-something million to Newcastle.
Yeah, from what I've read, somewhere between 4 and 5 million.
Yeah. This is worrying.
Why?
Well, because everyone's in the last chance saloon, right? So if you cast your mind back to the 13-club debacle, which we had, which then went to 12 clubs and then 11 clubs and finally 10 clubs.
And that 13 down to 10, it happened pretty quick.
It did happen
within
a
reasonably short period of time.
So my theory on this has always been the RFU were happy and CVC were happy. In fact, all of Premiership Rugby were happy just to see 3 clubs go. Didn't really care which ones. 3 clubs have to go.
Because 13 was ludicrous. So you either had this situation where one team is constantly bouncing up and down, or a series of teams are bouncing up and down, or one team has a rest week.
Yeah.
Which is, it's actually not that bad for player welfare, but it's not great for the storylines.
And it doesn't work towards the tail end of the competition either.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've always got this odd number of games. Someone finishes first. Someone doesn't play on the opening weekend.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work in the league.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. There is a reason why pretty much every league in the world has an even number of teams.
Yeah. So that happened. Now, as these teams went bust, they're like, yeah, fine. And the last chance saloon is a 10-team league, which is nice and manageable. It works for the international calendar better. It works for player welfare better. It strengthened all the teams. But here's the downside to it. It is now absolutely imperative that nobody else goes bust, because a 9-team league is the apocalypse.
Yes.
It's over.
Yes.
So they are going to do everything they can to sustain Newcastle or find a replacement.
And, yeah, just an extra thing to add to that before we get onto the replacement side of things is they have these P shares. They have 3 bouts of P shares that they have tried to sell. I can't remember the exact figure that they've tried to sell them for, but it's somewhere in the double-digit millions. It's somewhere between, say, 10 and 20 million pounds. Now, if one club goes bump, maybe it's worth that. Now, with 3 having gone and potentially a 4th going, they're worth 1/10 of that.
Exactly right.
They're worth a fraction of it.
It's crazy how quickly those things are basically worthless.
Yeah.
So they were at one point worth 27 million quid. That's what they were valued at, I think, originally. And of course, as teams went under, they became less and less valuable. I think that 27 million might have come from
the CVC.
Maybe I've misremembered it, but it's something along those lines.
I remember them being double digits, millions.
Now at this point, people might want to ask me, well, JB, why would someone not just buy Seymour Curdy out of his situation at Newcastle and just run it because they wanted to own a rugby club? Many people do want to run a rugby club. And the reason is because the CVC deal exists. And what's interesting about this is CVC themselves, it sounds like, are willing to lend the money. Now, that is weird. But I think they understand as well that this is their investment and it could actually fail. The one thing they never expected to do is fail in its entirety, because the entire league would have to fail for them to fail.
But JB, go back those years, and all those grassroots podcasters said it's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing!
This investment was amazing.
I spoke to a lot of journalists, right? A lot of them at the time. I was like, why do you think it's amazing? Oh, because the adults are in the room. These guys are brilliant. They make loads of money. Yes, they do, but at our expense. And I don't blame CVC for this. It's a wonderful deal. It's a wonderful bit of financial engineering that they pulled off. But it wasn't good for the game. And anyone who understood it knew the only thing the deal really does is give a stay of execution for owners that can't afford to be there. And eventually, those owners which would have gone bankrupt or which would have exited anyway, exited later, except now there's a CVC deal in place that means nobody else wants to buy that club.
And on those P shares, the only value is you get to spend your... this is for the vanity. Pay for shares to have the vanity of being able to spend your kids' inheritance and own a rugby club. It's not well, you spend this 20 million and that's an investment that you're going to be able to get a return on in years to come.
So
everyone's losing money.
Here's a thought I've just had, right? So I can, obviously Simon Orange bought Sale. That's a change of ownership. There was Bruce Craig buying Bath from Brown Swords.
Steve Lansdowne owns Bristol.
Steve Lansdowne bought Bristol. I do not think a Premiership club has changed hands since the CVC deal.
Nigel Ray got out of Saracens, didn't he?
He didn't sell his equity.
Did he not?
He just stood back from the board. So there's been a slight change of equity in Exeter around some jiggery pokery from Mr. Ray. Not Mr. Ray. Mr. Rowe.
Here we've got Saracens. So World Cup winning captain Francois Pinard led consortium took over Saracens to the tune of £32 million.
Oh, there you go.
Nigel Ray sells controlling stake for £32 million. So that was 2021. That was late 2021. So that is one that has gone.
There you go, one then. So there's one club that's changed hands, and I don't think we'll see another one. I mean, Wasps couldn't change hands. London Irish couldn't change hands.
I mean, they have now.
They have now. Yes. I mean, yes.
It wasn't close.
Worcester did.
It wasn't. It was 1/1000th of that £32 million was what they changed hands for.
Yes, quite.
Yeah, Worcester did. Those guys came in to sell the assets, strip the assets.
Yeah. So Goldring came in and took it from. Was it like the Duckworth family? But no one's been able to shift the club since. Leicester Tigers have been up for sale for 5 years, maybe.
Here you go. Is from Telegraph in 2007. The P shares were valued. This is around the time of Wasps and Worcester going bump. The P shares were valued at £20 million at that point in time. 3 years later, two and a bit years later, I'd be surprised if you got 1/10 of that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine London Irish, Worcester Wasps are going to stump up.
Now they would
that money.
Yeah, they'd come with rights. So the P shares, the advantage of them, they would come with rights to the TV deal.
Yep.
Of which, obviously, CVC takes their share, but that TV deal is still worth something to all those clubs, but it's not £20 million.
Yeah, completely agree. So anyway, this is really serious because if Newcastle go under, I predicted 3 or 4 years ago that it'd take 5 years for English rugby to come completely unstuck, and I think on that time frame, if this happens, it's pretty much on track. Because on the other side of the channel, you've got this absolute monster of the top 14, which is just sucking in all the talent. If this does happen, the Premiership have now got a 9-league team. They're going to have to do something really inventive. Maybe they merge with the URC. Maybe they take the Welsh teams away. Maybe something like that happens. But that's bad. It's bad for all involved. There's no good scenario here. The only way that this works is if Newcastle become profitable, which they won't, and no one wants to take a risk on these Premiership teams because the CVC sucks all the life out of them. So what is the solution? And the solution, it would seem, is that the other clubs start subsidising, or indeed the RFU step in and give more money to the... And actually, this has happened exactly as I predicted, which is when the RFU did their new PGA, Professional Game Agreement, or PG, whatever they call it.
PGP, partnership.
Yeah, they're paying more... They're paying more in total to the Premiership clubs than they were. Now than they were when there's 13.
And add on to that the 17 central contracts, up to 25 central contracts. So, at 150 grand a pop, which is subsidising Premiership clubs with RFU funds.
And as I said at the time, that's what's going to happen. The RFU are going to start subsidising the professional team more and more and more, whether it be through the England players or whether it be through these rather generous handouts, because they need to bridge that gap with the top 14, which is self-sustaining.
Yeah.
So it's happening right in front of our eyes, just as I predicted 3-4 years ago. And if Newcastle go under, it is nothing short of an epic disaster.
Which is why Steve Lansdowne and Bruce Craig are chucking their own money in with probably no hope of ever seeing it again.
Yeah, that loan's not coming back to them. Unless Newcastle go into liquidation or something, and it probably still isn't going.
And then they'll get pennies on the pound.
Yeah. And the alternative, if Newcastle do go under, would be either Ealing, but the Premiership regulations around stadium size prohibits them at the moment, which seems crazy because that is a team who they actually don't mind spending a bit of money, or one of the zombie corpses of Wasps or London Irish. I think Worcester might be a step too far, but one of those zombie corpses, but with the problem of all 4 of those are fishing in the pond that other Premiership clubs already occupy.
Yeah.
Newcastle is 200 miles from the nearest club. It occupies an enormous space of the northeast and Cumbria that
It's a disaster.
otherwise is untouched.
Yeah. So,
And there's a lot of talent up there as well.
loads of it. Yeah, it's a real disaster. I think Newcastle lost 11 million quid last year.
God, I'm surprised they can actually spend that much.
Yeah, I am as well, actually, because
their
they only
salary
spend
bill is like a third of
about
that.
3.6.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they managed to lose all that money. Maybe it's
That is
over a
careless.
period of years, but that's what the
Yeah,
loss was.
it can't be in 1 year, that.
Yeah, that's what I read. So, yeah, really, really bad. Really, yeah,
It's bad.
really, really bad.
It's bad. On something good. So
Paddy Jackson coming back to the Premiership.
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
Might come back.
Do you know that, Tim?
No.
Exeter. I mean, what they got to lose? Already
No,
widely
think
hated.
we're racist.
Yeah,
Yeah, the people that are going to have a massive issue with that already hate them anyway,
Yeah, and
Probably.
don't watch rugby
and don't watch rugby.
as well. We're going to pander to people who aren't giving us any money,
Yeah,
but have already called us racist. Brilliant.
Yeah, I think Paddy Jackson to Exeter, if that is a real thing, awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to see him back in the Premiership.
Yep, down with that.
Did you see the other fly half news? We didn't touch on this. I think it came out this week. The potential solution to Leicester Tigers.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that earlier.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil. How much would you part with 600k for Jack Crowley? Would you hand Andre Pollard's money to Jack Crowley?
It'd be a bit less than Pollard.
Yeah, it would be a bit less.
But it's still...
No.
So, see, I would... 600k is a bit much. But I would get Jack Crowley.
I think it'd be a great
I
sign.
pay him
Yeah, I think he will fit the bill.
300.
No, I think you'd be paying him more than that.
I think they will pay more than that, but I pay him 300.
If he goes abroad, he'd have lots of offers from lots of different places. Japan, France.
Yeah.
So you'd have to compete.
I think he'd be a great fit. I think he'd be super.
I think he would fit Leicester nicely.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good player. He is a good player. He's just not the best fly half in the world.
Problem is, they're not going to have the best fly half in the world. Who's the best that they could get?
Oh, Pollard.
Yeah, but they can't get him now.
Pollard's a hell of a player for him.
He's already gone.
He's gone back to the Bulls. He's
already gone.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
a done deal. He's unavailable.
So, one of the New Zealand boys.
Can you get
Doesn't
him?
really fit, though, does it, New Zealand
No.
Tigers? It doesn't.
Can you get one?
I mean, you could if you want to throw marquee money at them.
Mwanga's getting
Yeah, but
like $1 million in Japan, and they're not going to compete with that.
No.
DMAC, they're not going to price him. DMAC,
You can't do so. Like if Mwanga go into Japan or Bowden Barrett's done Japan, DMAC's done Japan, they can do that because they can go there for 6 months and then go back to New Zealand central contract. You can't, like, if you're going Leicester cannot get someone for 6 months or 12 months. They've got to have a 2-3 year deal.
Oh, minimum. They can't be doing the Pollard thing again. They can't be saying.
They could possibly trade because he can still play international rugby.
Yeah.
A South African and the Stormers have got all of those amazing players. Like Libok. Come on, Libok. Come and have a couple of years in England.
He's not very Leicester though.
He's not very Leicester.
I'd love to see him in the Premiership. Love
I
it.
think Leicester needs the second best fly half from somewhere. So somebody who's going to be available.
So Crowley might be that.
Actually, okay, so Crowley's not a bad shot.
Joe Simmons back from Pau.
How's he doing there?
Yeah, they're doing okay. Well, they're sort of third, fourth bottom.
So
Jalibert.
No, he's re-signed, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
he
the
would be.
second
I thought they might go
or
for
third
him.
best.
Cami Lopez is doing amazing things at Bayonne, even at his
36?
age. Yeah, he's still amazing.
You want someone whose international aspirations are pretty much dead, and they want to spend the next 7 years at Leicester Tigers.
Yeah, but dead at like age 26 or 27.
Yeah. So actually, a New Zealander or an Australian, where you turf them out so they can't play, probably works. So in the way that Nick Evans was great for Harlequins, someone like that for Tigers.
Albanose might be one.
Albanose, we've said him before. If you can get Albanose, that would be a great signing.
Crowley, actually, more I think about it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
As long as he's not got his burning ambitions to play for Ireland, and I'm sure he does. But then there has to be moves from the Irish provinces to bring him back, and you've got to put him on a nice long deal too.
Yeah, and you can. There's no. I don't think there's any rules.
Do you think the Crowley thing will actually? I mean, I'm sure Leicester are looking at the situation and going, he's not being picked. He's a really good player. He's available. I can't see Crowley. Ireland look after their players, and he will be, as much as Prendergast is coming through, they will be wanting to look after Crowley.
Yeah. He would, if he goes...
He's 24.
He would need assurances 25. That he's going to have full IRFU access.
Yeah, so there's...
No, well, you can't. If you leave Ireland, you can't.
You can't.
That's it, no. It's like New Zealand and England.
Except for Sexton. That was Sexton.
Johnny Sexton was allowed.
But that was like 2015, wasn't it?
But, yeah.
Jordan Murphy, he had links. He played when he was at Leicester.
So they've got...
Maybe they'd make an exception.
They've got Prendergast, they've got Crowley. Who else have they
got? Billy Byrne at Munster. Aidan Morgan, young Kiwi lad.
Yeah. They need him. They
Carty.
need Jack Crowley. The Burns, Harry Byrne.
Yes.
Ross Byrne. Joey Carberry they could get back if they were really desperate. Paddy Jackson. Not going to happen.
Yeah, Paddy Jackson is not going to happen.
At 10, Paddy Jackson would be great for Tigers.
Not a bad shout.
That'd be the one, actually.
Not a bad shout.
Just purely rugby. That's the only...
What else would you... I mean, look, he's not Manu, where apparently they'd assign him regardless of his rugby talents. I love that. No, even regardless of the fact that he's 120 kilograms and can run through people, we would have signed him anyway.
Manu Tuolangi must have some incredible... Well, it's just his size. He must have had some incredible powers of persuasion because, like, Alex Anderson kept parting with cash, even though he never saw him. Went for a walk up a mountain, have another 400k.
Yeah. I just love this guy. I love him so much.
But Manu must have one of the all-time best highlight reels.
Yeah.
So if you watch the highlight reel from 10 years ago...
Oh, it's a hope that kills you, isn't it? Like, is this the week he's the old Manu?
I would just look at his quads when he came out to training, just giving him a blank check. Just take it to the bank, mate.
Go on then, Manu.
See you Saturday.
It's cost a lot of people a lot of money, that.
Well, Bayonne are getting great value out of him.
Is he still playing well?
Yeah. And Bayonne are top 4.
Are they?
Yeah.
Bayonne.
My beloved Bayonne. Sorry to give them their full name.
So, what is happening next week in the world of rugby?
Well, before that, I wanted to do a bit of a wrap-up on the Six Nations, but I didn't want to pick the team in the tournament, and I didn't want to do a Lions team in the tournament.
Thank God.
What I thought would be best is to pick the stables of players positionally. So we break the team into front row, second row, back row, half-back, centres, back 3. So you've got 6 stables. You have to pick the entire stable from one nation. So your front row, including bench reserves, basically anyone who's played in the whole tournament, based on their performances, which country do you select your
entire back row from?
Entire front row for.
And it's half-backs...
Half-back centres
and outside backs.
Yeah, back 3 as a combination.
But you can only pick one country for one.
So your front row, all 6. So let's say you're all 6 in your match day 23 of front rows. You have to say, I want France or England or Scotland, etc., etc.
Interesting.
So
Curious.
Front rows.
So I think...
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Prime members, are you tired of ads interfering with your favorite podcasts? Good news. With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free podcasts. That's amazon.com/ad-free podcasts to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
I think I want to go for my front row. Scotland.
Whoa, Dave Cherry in there.
Dave Cherry.
Schumann and Ferguson. Brilliant.
Sutherland.
Yeah, solid without being exceptional.
He's got a 200 kilogram bench, mate.
A 205 kilogram bench.
Yeah, he can. That guy can play. So Scotland would be up there for me.
What I'm thinking, where this starts for me is and maybe this is a glass half full kind of a thing. I look to the worst team and think, where could I tolerate having some Welshmen?
So we're doing this. You've got to have one
can I
from
just say,
each.
Yeah,
the biggest loser.
So that is the best way to do it if we're doing that.
So the biggest loser of Toby Faletau coming back into international rugby is everybody that hoped there'd be the token Welsh player. Because there's only going to be one guy going.
I don't think there'll be any. I honestly would. Maybe I'm being idealistic on this. I think Andy Farrell is the sort of bloke that will not take token players.
Yeah, you're wrong there, mate. Because the Welsh will want their guy to go, and it's going to be one in the pack.
It could just be Jack Morgan.
Yeah, well, there we go.
It could be one.
No, but he'll go on merit. That's what I'm saying.
But will he though? Because
I think
he's got to get Van der Fleer, 2 Curries, Earl. I mean, it's not
Darge.
Good luck,
Dempsey.
It's not clear to me that he is in the 6 or 7 shirt at all.
I think he's in the squad. I think I would take him in the squad.
Yeah, token though, right?
No, I think I'd take him on merit.
I think he's
a great player.
He's as good as I think he's as good as Darge, Van der Fleer, a Curry. I think he's in that.
If he was English, he wouldn't be playing, and that's not a criticism. That's just the way the English system works. He doesn't look as impressive as Chandler Cunningham South or Ben Earl.
In one of the previews for the game, write-ups for the game this weekend, there was a picture of him stood next to Marrow, and he's like, if you told me those two were professional sportsmen, I'd say, right, that guy is rugby, NFL, something physical. That guy. Darts, bowling.
Whoa. So I had the same thought. Mara was standing right next to Kieran Azarati.
Oh, God.
And this one's like, no, they can't be playing the same sport.
Yeah.
Well, if they are, one's level 7, right?
This is not fair.
Yeah.
So, what position could you tolerate Wales most?
Do we have to pick Wales as stable of positions?
Yeah.
I wasn't originally going to do it as that.
There's 6 stables
but
and
there
6 teams.
Let's say we've got to do it like that. Let's do it like that. So you've got to have one Welsh, you've got to have one Italian.
We can do it the other way at the end really quickly and easily.
I'm so confused here. I was going to do... Right.
So you have to pick... So one country...
Lions.
So one country... No, not Lions.
Yeah.
No, this
right,
is from the Six Nations countries.
All right, well, so front row France.
You've got front row, second row, back row, half back, centres, outside backs.
Yeah. So I think that you're right to do it the worst to best, because France could... if you have front row, you are denying Pinot, Ramos and Biel Barret.
Because they're not that much better. And sorry, the gap between the French front row and the next guys is much bigger than all of those guys.
You get Marchand and Malvaca. You get Gross and Bai.
Yeah. You get Uini Antonio and
Aldegheri. Not quite as good.
Well, Colomb, but he's...
I think we do it back to... So
I did write down France front row, but...
I think the easiest one is, of the weaker teams...
Italy centres, 100%. I've written that down, yeah.
Has to be Italy centres.
Mm-hmm.
Menoncello and Brex and Cello. Oh, God, if they could have had 3 tries in that first half this weekend.
If Menoncello was a Kiwi, a South African, English, he would be like the poster boy for rugby.
He's so good.
He's unbelievable.
They're so good in attack, and they absolutely destroy everything in defence as well. Love them. So they're the centres.
I think if I was picking Scotland, the areas I would go for them... Well, you could have Scotland as your outside backs.
You could.
Yes, you could.
You could have them as the half-backs.
You could have them as half-backs, which is where I've got them written down. But I'm sort of thinking... And Scotland's back row's pretty good as well. So...
Do you know you are right? Where can I tolerate Wales?
That's the big question.
That is the question. We're going to have to tolerate them somewhere.
I think...
Thomas William and Anscombe.
Like Rowlands and Davis Jenkins. We just have to go, we're just not going to have such a good second row, but let's deal with it.
I like Teddy Williams.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
I like him.
I think Wales have got a decent back row. The half-backs are serviceable a little bit, but they're just not...
Morgan, Faletau and Wainwright isn't horrendous.
It's not bad.
But when you compare it to what you could have...
I think probably the best back row of the tournament, I'd actually say England.
Yeah, I've got England as my back row.
The depth as well.
Twindaloo, Earl, you've...
Cunningham South
can slot in there.
Willis, who was a monster.
Tom Willis was great.
Yeah, monster against France and Italy. Came off and did a load of damage.
Yeah, but France are wheeling Jelonch off the bench. That's mega. It's mega.
Ireland also very impressive in the back row. We've got to pick Wales somewhere.
I think second row.
It can't be front row.
There's only 2 of them you have to put out on a team. That's one.
One of them is
straight away.
You've got the bench guy as well, but yeah, there's only 2 at a time.
And David Jenkins was decent. Will Rowlands on his day can be good.
David Jenkins has literally captained every team he's played for so far.
Yeah, Rowlands picks up money in Paris, so that's... I mean, it is a bit of a joke at the moment, but...
Wales second row.
Ordinarily is no joke. Yeah, Wales second row.
So France front row, Wales second row. England back row, is that your forwards? And then you've got Scotland, Italy, Ireland for the backs?
Let's just calm down a second.
Sorry.
Ireland don't do much for me in the backs. They do a lot for me in the back row.
Lowe, Keenan, Hansen's pretty good. You could also say you get Jameson, Gibson, Parker at 9
but
with Ireland.
But
then the 10 question mark.
But in back row,
if
Van der Fleer, you've got Bird, you've got Byrne, you've got Conan.
But then you'd have to have
Doris.
You'd have to have. Do you go back to having English second rows, or does that mean you have England's half backs or England's outside backs? Because I don't think that's England's strength.
England's half backs pretty decent.
I'd probably go England back row. Would be my.
Yeah, I think I would go England back row.
The Prendergast Crowley problem is much like the Harlequins hooker problem several years ago.
Ah, yes, I know where this is.
Where they had Dave Ward and was it Sam Riley and someone else? Buchanan?
James Buchanan.
Rob Buchanan?
Rob Buchanan.
Rob Buchanan.
Yeah.
Which between the 3 of them, you had one phenomenal hooker, but they were sadly comprised of 3 different bodies. And that's what I feel about Prendergast and Crowley.
I've changed my mind, by the way.
Okay.
It's got to be Ireland's front row. You get Porter, Sheehan. Sheehan's unreal.
Sheehan is.
And then you get to have your pick of... You could have Dupont, Luku and Tamac, Jalibert as your half-backs, or you could go the outside backs that you've already mentioned.
Yeah.
LBB, Penno, Ramos.
They are the best outside backs. Scotland's outside backs have been good, but they're not as good as France's.
But what's a better combo? Scotland's half-backs and France's outside backs, or France's half-backs and Scotland's outside backs? Because when you put the 2 together, it's kind of Kinghorn at the back there with Tamac and Dupont.
Yeah.
That's pretty...
Dupont is literally the best player ever to grace the planet. So
you kind of got to get him in the team.
But hang on, just going back to that, I want to talk about the game just a little bit more. Luca was mighty fine.
He's been in the game last week. He was,
and
wonderful.
He can absolutely welly a ball. Like he can smash it, which is great.
Which they use as a tactic as well. Like just get it as far down the field, and we will chase you. We'll hunt you down.
And not only that, I think everyone else plays a bit better because he's there.
Yeah. We touched on that last week. I think there is something. He gives them more time with the ball.
So it's nice to have the best player in the world, but you tend to rely on him too much.
Yes.
So I'm thinking Ireland's front row, because you would get Porter, Sheehan, Furlong.
Yeah.
Wales second row, you'd get Jenkins, Rowlands.
Yeah.
England back row, take your pick: Curry, Earl, Willis,
Cunningham South,
Pollock, whatever. France's halfbacks: Dupont, Luku, Le Garrec, Ntamak, Jalibert, Ramos.
And you get Ramos in there as well.
Yeah. Italy centres, you get Brexancello. Scotland outside backs: Duan, Darcy Graham, Kyle Stain, and you get
Kinghorn,
Rowe,
Blair Kinghorn.
Kinghorn, best 15 in the tournament.
Yeah.
Stuart Hogg.
Yeah.
Hoggy.
Hoggy.
Good on the Bears. Good for a social.
Yeah.
We've nailed it.
Yeah, I think we nailed it there.
Well then.
The winning team.
Now if you could pick a country multiple times.
France.
France.
I don't think anyone gets in the head of
France front row.
I go France second row.
Just about.
Maybe England.
Maybe England.
Maybe England.
Second row.
Actually, Chesson, Martin, Itoje. Cunningham
South.
as
You
well.
get him as a freebie. And Ted Hill. Back row. It's hard stuff. Oh, but I do love the Irish back row.
I like them as well.
They don't have a 6. Well, they haven't played a 6. No, I'm not
but
convinced.
They played Conan there. They played O'Mahony there.
Cross, Budahon, Aldrit.
And you get loads of them
I love
because
him.
France have like 4 back rows on the bench half the time as well.
Ramat.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't been involved.
Jelonch. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe France.
So we've gone France.
Halfbacks France.
I'm going
Halfbacks,
France, England, France.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah,
Halfbacks, France.
France, England, France. Halfbacks, France. Centres, Italy still.
Really? Over
Yeah.
Mufana and Fiku?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you look at the whole tournament, so Fico only played 1 game. Barassi did well, but without being amazing. Mofana did some good things. I think I thought going into the tournament, I would have said Ireland.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them had an amazing tournament. I know there's suspension and Aki got taken off early. Honourable mention for Scotland, actually, in the census. Thought Jordan was superb.
Without Tuipulotu.
And Hugh Jones. And then back 3, France.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which says the best team won.
Yes.
And the future is France.
Indeed.
Right.
What's happening next week?
Next weekend, we are back to Premiership for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of Premiership. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been away for 6 weeks. We get 2 weeks Premiership, then back to Europe. That makes total sense.
I can't remember anything about where anyone is.
No.
So let's just look at the table. So Bath first.
Stop. Can we just guess where everyone is?
Okay, so Bath's in first.
Bath at top.
Who's in second?
Who's in second?
Bristol?
Yeah, probably Bristol.
Bristol in second. Who's in third?
Saracens?
No,
I would have said...
No.
Oh, I was going to say Leicester. Northampton at 8th. Maybe it's Sale.
Sale are 7th.
What?
Northampton are 8th, right?
Yeah,
Northampton are 8th.
Oh, Gloucester are 3rd.
Gloucester are 3rd. Gloucester are 3rd. They have won the same amount of games as 4th, 5th and 7th.
Harlequins?
Harlequins are not in 4th.
This is hard and embarrassing.
I would have done equally as bad or
Saracens?
worse. Saracens are not in 4th.
What other teams are there?
Leicester
We've already
Tigers.
said
Leicester Tigers are in
Leicester
4th.
Tigers in 4th.
You have mentioned the team in 5th.
No, you've
You've mentioned almost everyone.
Quins.
Not
No.
Sale, not
Saris.
Quins. Saris are in 5th.
Saris, then Quins, then
Quins.
Sale.
Yes.
Then
Then
Sale, then
Northampton.
Northampton,
Exeter.
then
Yes.
Exeter, then Newcastle.
Newcastle, yes. And so the fixtures we
It's
have...
really capturing us, this league.
It's the inconsistency. We've not watched it for 2 months, over 2 months.
They need,
And that was only 1 game.
don't they, at the start of every Premiership block, do like Neighbours used to have a recap? Because no one has any idea what has happened since.
They should have Premiership players. You turn on and before it starts, you'll have like Finn Baxter pop up previously on the Premiership.
Yes, exactly. Because it is hard. I agree with you. It's so hard to remember who hates who at the moment.
They could actually. Do you know what? There you go. You've got time. TNT sport producers do something a bit innovative and show them how it should be done. If they actually spoofed a previously of a TV show to start the Premiership
24.
show, like 24, that would be the way to go.
24 would be a great way of doing it.
Show us, and TNT by all means, show us some shots of Kim Bauer running. 24 used to love those.
Yes.
Right, this weekend appears to be Derby weekend. So on Friday night we have...
Another one.
We have Newcastle Falcons hosting Sale Sharks.
Kings of the North.
Kings of the North. Diamond against his old crew.
Does he retain his previous crown of King of the North from when he won it at Sale?
Yeah.
And take it to Newcastle?
He's
He is King of the North, isn't he? So
all-time, lifelong member of the King of the North club.
yeah.
Which is probably going to be an away win.
He's a Ned Stark of rugby, isn't he?
And then Northampton Saints host Leicester Tigers. East Midlands Derby.
Ooh. Okay, good.
Which is going to be...
With no internationals.
There might be a couple, but certainly the Northampton will have their B team backline because they've all been playing.
Which is still pretty good.
It is, yeah, with
you've still got
Hendy and James Ram.
Litchfield.
Furbank possibly could be back. Litchfield.
Tom James.
Hutchinson. Tom James, yeah. Got some good players.
Yeah, they'll be all right. Oh, Odendal's back now.
Is he?
Odendal, I'm sure he is, yeah. And the Dingwall.
Well,
he played.
Did he play? Did he come off the
Played
bench?
the last 2 weeks.
Started.
He played this week?
Played 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Christ, what was I watching?
He's the kind of player that's like...
Oh, no, not 80. Oh, no, he did play 80 minutes. It was Freeman that went off when Earl went to centre, wasn't it?
Was it?
And Dingwall went to 13, Ben Earl went to 12.
Yes. Love it.
Love it.
Then on Saturday, we've got Saracens hosting Harlequins. Saracens
Spicy.
to win. Saracens just got Harlequins' number.
Well, he did, but didn't the Harlequins win the last
I
one?
think they might have won it for the first time in
Harlequins actually
100
won a game
years.
against Saracens, so...
And Quins will have more of their top players. Oh, no, Saracens will have a few. Well, no Willis, no Earl, no Itoji, no George. But they will have Theo down. They will have Tizard and McFarland and...
Yeah. Liam Williams.
Give me Harlequins for this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go Quins.
Don't know why.
Saracens at home for me. And then we have Bristol versus Exeter Chiefs, which is going to be...
Not a derby, but nevertheless.
Yeah. It's going to be a Bristol win as well.
Yeah.
And that game is happening because...
Who won the Premiership Cup?
Bath hammered Exeter Chiefs.
Did they?
Yeah.
Mm.
And final game is Bath versus Gloucester. So first versus third.
Interesting.
It just feels like they should have saved these
Bath.
derby weeks for when international
When the
players
full
could be there.
internationals, yeah.
Feels like they should have waited. If you're going to have 6 weeks off the Premiership, why not have eight weeks off the Premiership so you can have your top players there?
They've clearly wanted to go back with a bang to get everyone invigorated and back into it. But you're exactly right. You've got the problem of there'll be a load of internationals not playing. There is a big game in the top 14 on Sunday night.
On that, I'll go Gloucester because they'll probably play all their Welsh players.
I was thinking that. The Welsh players get the release, don't they?
Gloucester Welsh, as they should now be known.
I think Bath have still got enough, probably. And Finn Russell will be playing. So, give me Bath.
Yeah.
Top 14, 8 o'clock on Sunday is quite a big game. Bordeaux host Toulouse.
Oof. Toulouse have been beaten by Bordeaux this season.
They have? Yeah.
And the top 14 table is... there's some absolutely massive games coming up. So, what was the one I was going to flag up? It is next... so week on Saturday. I'll remind you next week. But Van against Perpignan.
At the bottom of the table?
At the bottom of the table.
Oh, and there's 2 points.
And so Van are on 28 points. There's 18 games gone, so there's 8 games left. Van are on 28 points, Perpignan on 30, Racing 92 on 31, and Stade Francais on 32. So a giant could get sucked right down into one of the relegation spots, which would be really, really fun. So yeah, Bordeaux Toulouse, that is on that. That's next weekend. The weekend after that, it's at the bottom of the table that the eyes should be.
Stade Racing, where were those two?
Third bottom and fourth bottom.
Yeah, 11th and 12th.
Christ.
1 and 2 points.
1 and 2 points away from being in the relegation spots.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That is quite remarkable.
And Perpignan, April the 19th, Perpignan against Racing 92.
So Racing and Stades both led by English fly-offs.
Well, Owen Farrell hasn't played. If he'd played, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, but Dan Lancaster.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Scottish now, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Saturday the 26th of April, Racing 92 against Stade Francais.
Nice.
Spicy.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're done.
I think we are done.
Right.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Thank you very much. Patreon.com/EggChasers. You know, all that jazz. Let the boys end. Let the boys play. Let the boys end.
Hi, it's Eugenio Derbez. Did you know that with Boost Mobile, you can cut your phone bill in half this tax season? Yes, half. Buy 6 months of service and get 6 months free. That's a full year of service paying half. That sounds good, doesn't it? And all on the Boost network with 99% nationwide coverage. Don't wait. Visit your Boost store today.
Requires upfront payment, taxes, and fees extra. Terms and exclusions apply. Visit boostmobile.com for full terms.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Brace the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.